What up, MVPs? Rico Knows here, back for the second episode on the offensive line. I apologize. Last episode took a little while to get rolling. It's just hard to reread your notes and remember some of the things you said about the players. But let's stay after it. Let's get after it. We're going to make this one 2 hours. We left off. I just talked about Florida State being a perfect 10, and now we have Fresno State at a 4.5. Let's look at Fresno State's offensive line, and I'll talk about the group here for a second. So the first thing I said is Torian Penwright. He's a Cajon High School product. Shout out to him, Penwright, from San Bernardino area, San Bernardino product. This is where we play ball in the southern section of California, so shout out to him. But he moved to the right tackle position sometimes. He's still a returning starter. Right? He started last year. He did play right tackle. And like I told you guys in the first episode, playing right tackle is probably the least prestigious position on the offensive line when it comes to the pecking order of the offensive lineman, if you will. Fanua here, the left guard, he's a former JUCO transfer. He had 4 starts after missing the start of the season. He's not a bad player. So he missed the start of the season, then ended up starting games later in the season. I like him. He's cool. And shout out to Coach Entz. He's the new head coach at Fresno. They're going to do their best, but there's a significant drop-off in the talent. If you look at last year's ratings versus this year, it's just been tough watching the turnover. So they're going to have to develop guys. But I just don't see the elite talent that I'm looking for at Fresno State. At center, Spomer, Jacob, he's a good player. He used to be a starting left tackle. Remember what I told you? He used to be a starting left tackle. That's the position everybody wants to start at. That's your best offensive lineman. And now he's the starting center, a captain of the offensive line. He's leading the way. Shout out to him. He is number 69 when you watch tape. Anytime a big guy's 69, it just looks sexy, you childish kids out there. But this is a wild transition for me. I believe he's an all-conference caliber player. Now, will he be all-conference? Probably not. Playing the Mountain West, there's some really good offensive linemen, but he's very good. I like him. Campbell McHarg is an Oregon State transfer. He was injured through most of last year, but he did start when he was healthy. He didn't start. I went to go watch his huddle tape. He didn't start his senior year in high school. There was he was injured there as well. They added Gino. Gino's the transfer, the senior. You see him there over left guard. He is just added depth. He's from USC. Braylon Henderson, a JUCO transfer from. He's a Tulare Union guy. Shout out to California again. And then Roland Fullwood. 0 tape on Roland Fullwood. He's a redshirt senior. I couldn't find anything. And apparently he's starting at right tackle. This doesn't look like a great offensive line. I gave it 4.5 because of Penwright's ability to play left tackle. Jacob at center. Looks like a pretty good combo there. You get just a little bit better than the average offensive line in the group of 5, but I would not say this is a slam dunk by any means. Nothing to get too excited about. Georgia Southern. Last year I gave them a 6. This year they're a 5.75. Georgia Southern, the cupboard is not bare at Georgia Southern. They have a pretty good team. They went 8-4 last year, 6-2 in conference. Clay Helton's still doing a hell of a job. Tyson Helton's brother, Clay Helton, former coach at USC. So there's a lot of good things going on over there. And you see the position groups. If you're around a 6, you're all conference. And the lowest score I give them is a 3 at running back. And I still like Omari Arnold. Shout out to Brooks County. O.J. Arnold here. But he's just not an every down guy. He's just a little scat back. But anyways, look at this offensive line. Kalen Williams, Trinity Christian. If you don't know Trinity Christian, another small school guy. Trinity Christian, that's the same school that Dallas is from. Josh Dallas, he and his brother transferred. But the Dallas brothers took Trinity Christian to the state championship not too long ago. Shout out to them. I think they lost to Irwin County. 1A. Really small level of football, though. But shout out to Kalen Williams, Trinity Christian, 6'7", 290. He got more playing time. He's never been a starter, but he keeps getting more playing time. And I think he's a grown man because he's been in college football since 2019. So, grown man, good to have him at this point. Then we have Wembley at guard. Wembley is an all-conference caliber player. He has started 3 years in a row now. And this is, I think, preseason Sun Belt, second team all-conference. He is the best offensive lineman on this team, according to me. There might be other people that's going to tell you it's Caleb Cook. That's fine. But when I watch the tape, I like the way Wembley plays. I really do. He looks good. All right, Chance Carroll at center. Remember last year when I told you guys about a player named Chance? Yeah, Chance Gamble. By the way, Chance Gamble was my hidden gem. He is the starting right corner on this team. He's first team all-conference in the preseason here. Chance Gamble's him. Shout out to Fitzgerald. But anyway, and I got it right. A white corner. I got it right a year ago. But let's get back to Carroll here. Chance Carroll, 6 years. He's a North Carolina transfer. He didn't play much in North Carolina, but he started 7 games last season and over 500 snaps. That's a lot, guys. He played every snap in the bowl game. I went back and watched it. Looks good to me. I like the kid. I like him a lot. Caleb Cook missed most of 2023, but was an all-conference third team last season. He started 12 games. So you come back from an injury. Shout out to Brunswick, by the way. He is a Brunswick product. It's just above the border down there in Georgia if you're going up 95. Good program, by the way. They had a couple good years in high school football. But the team, I feel bad giving this a 5.75 now that I look at it because Caleb Cook's here, and he's the real deal. Caleb Cook missed most of 2023, was all conference. Oh, I was just talking about Caleb Cook. My bad. Who am I thinking of? Oh, no, Johnny Brown. Johnny Brown's left. Parkview. Shout out to Parkview. You don't know them. Their helmets look like Clemson. They're orange. Big 7A program. That's where he's coming out of. Two-time All-State 7A guy. This is a Miami transfer, so it's good to get him. He's still developmental. He still has work to do. Not quite there. There's another guy I looked like on tape that I liked was Chandler Strong. He is third-team Sun Belt preseason, and I don't know how. So if Chandler Strong is on the third-team preseason Sun Belt team, what are we doing? Where's he starting? I don't know. If they get him in the starting lineup, I don't know what that is. But he's there on the third team. Maybe he's starting over Carroll. But I'm going to go ahead and move Georgia Southern up to a 6.25 just after looking at them and reevaluating them. Sometimes this happens. I do these teams early in the alphabet, and I'm a little more stringent on them, and then as time goes, I realize how good of a line it is, and I can go back and readjust. Georgia Southern looks like a good team. They really do. And their defense, oh my goodness, it looks pretty deep. So shout out to them. We'll get to that in a few. Georgia State, not so much. Georgia State's offensive line, not nearly as good as Georgia Southern. Don't get the two mixed up. Georgia Southern is known goods. They're getting it done, and Georgia State with Del McGee are just trying to get better, right? Del McGee, head coach coming in from Georgia, trying to build something here, and they're using the transfer portal amazingly, and they're going to coach these guys up and all that stuff. The reality is Georgia Southern's a well-oiled machine versus Georgia State, and it's not really close. You see a 57% here for Georgia Southern on offense and a 42% for Georgia State. That's a significant gap in offensive ability, just so you're clear, just so you're aware, excuse me. But let's go look at this offensive line for Georgia State. First things first, they have Will Larkins. Will Larkins is not at Georgia State. Shout out to our lads. See, this is why you can't fake this. You got to know this, guys. Will Larkins is at he's at Oregon State. He's at Oregon State, and he'll probably be the starting left tackle. I don't know, but he probably. So Will Larkins is gone. Obadiah is probably going to be the starter here. Oh boy, did I evaluate Obadiah? Yeah, I know he's from Alpharetta. If you don't know, Alpharetta High School in Georgia. Pretty good school, but pretty decent football, high school football. Nonetheless, he's a North Carolina State transfer, and I just wrote in here that he gained 20 pounds. He's a 3-star, has a Nigerian father. That's important, bro. His dad's Christian Okoye. Shout out to him, you know. Mason Cook, I wrote average. That's it, one word, average. Alec Johnson, returning starter. That's fine. Returning production does matter, but I also need to evaluate your talent. Shout out to Patterson at right guard. He is a Virginia transfer, but not on the school website. That concerns me. He wasn't on the Georgia State website. Typically means you're not on the team. Went and checked the Twitter, got no confirmation, so I'm just kind of stuck there. And then they brought in Bailey, Darrell Bailey. This is a guy who just transferred in from ETSU. Kind of intriguing because if you're at ETSU, you should have transferred with Trey Lamb to Tulsa, and instead you come back to Georgia, which is fine. The reason for that is he last year in the FCS, he was all conference, but before that he spent 5 years at South Florida. 5 years, no, I'm sorry. He spent 1 year at South Florida. Is that right? 1 year maybe. I think he had a couple starts at South Florida, which is rare. It's hard to start at South Florida. South Florida got a good offensive line, like I told you guys in the last episode. Anyways, I think he's very good. I think he's good enough. Nonetheless, this entire offensive line, at the end of the day, is an average group of 5 offensive lines. That's why they got a 4. They're just average. Let's go to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech. Guys, I sound crazy, and I know no one wants to listen to me, and I haven't looked at the schedule just yet, but I think Georgia Tech's only losing like 2 games. We're going to keep looking, but I think Georgia Tech's only losing 2 games this year. It might be tough, but I really believe that. I'm really leaning towards Georgia Tech dropping 2 games. Look at their over-under. Shout out to all you MVPs out there, but I'm going to keep looking. The defense doesn't have much, but it feels like they're going to outscore teams and win. We'll figure it out. We'll get there. Offensive line, studs. Ethan McKinney over here, starting left tackle. Future 2023 true freshman All-American. Great potential. I said his tape looks great. Joe is at left guard. Don't worry about Joe. He's fourth team All-ACC preseason, permanent team captain, the real deal. He's a vet. Think of him as an unk. Like, think of him as that kind of guy. He's real. Shout out to Joe. Then we got Harrison Moore at center. Harrison Moore is young, dumb, and full of never mind. He's a good player, though. He's going to be in the lineup. We'll make it work. Rutledge on his right side. Don't worry about anything. Rutledge is a first-team all-conference preseason player, one of the best right guards in America, and he's been here for a while. So he's been in college football for a while. You got a beast in Rutledge. You got a beast in McKinney outside, and then you bring in Will Reed. Shout out to Will Reed, a multi-year starter at Princeton. I've told you guys I don't like the Ivy League transfers. But Will Reed coming over to the right tackle spot, the least prestigious position. It's okay. He's 6'6", 305. Big guy. I wrote that I like him, but Ivy League players haven't impressed me in recent years. If he beats out Malachi Carney, then he deserves to be there. That's great. Because I personally don't think either one of them is a power 4 starter, but it's nice that they brought in competition to see who's going to get that spot. We'll see what happens. But if he earns it, then he earns it. But I'm just not sold on it. So this is why it's 8.5. There's good players here. Trust me. If you ever play for Brent Key, you can play offensive line. Brent Key is an amazing offensive line coach. He's going to get the most out of his players. And with my ratings, I did take coaching into account. I did take assessments in coaching staff and things like that. And that's going to sound crazy because you see the next score. Georgia's at an 8. And people are going to be offended by this. The same thing with Ohio State and Texas. I actually think Ohio State, Texas, and Georgia are all in the same boat. Even LSU. I'm just sitting here evaluating the talent, and I'm banking on the ability of the coaches, but they can't play for you on Saturdays. And these don't all look like they're ready to go dominate. They really don't. And it's just going to be one of those things. They're young. They're young, and they're going to try their best. But there's a reason Georgia – somebody go look at their win-loss total from Vegas. It's not as high as you think. It might be 9.5 now. It was 8.5. I think it's 9.5 now because everybody was taking the over. And it's one of those situations where I don't know. It's going to be rough. So Monroe Freeling. Let's start Monroe Freeling. Excuse me. Monroe's 4 stars, former 5-star guy. Cool. Michael Morris, 5 stars. Camden County product. Shout out to Georgia. They have baby blue uniforms. I was watching his tape. Looks like a good player. They're very talented players. These are those uber talented recruits that you can't get anywhere else, that you got to grow in your own system. But they don't have a lot of returning starting potential or any reps as starters at all. So I think their offensive line will be elite next year versus this year. This year I'm giving it an 8. Next year, these same guys would get a 10. Seriously, because they would be returning starters. They would probably get a 10. That's how it looks. Drew Bobo, nothing. 2 starts in his life. Daniel Calhoun, complete stud of a player. Shout out to Walton. When you watch Walton high school football, it was him, Botiford at running back. Don't ask me about Georgia high school football players. I can go for days on them. But Daniel Calhoun, Walton High School, he's great. His tape is phenomenal. And it's 7A football, some of the best teams in America. And he's 6'6", 330-ish. Yeah, the dude's a problem. And to see him starting here as a redshirt freshman is awesome. I'm excited for him. And then Ernest Green, freshman All-American in 2023. He started 9 games last year. He's probably got the best tape for me of everybody on the team. And he's 3rd team All-SEC. I need you guys to understand something. There are all-conference teams for offensive linemen in the SEC. And not a single Georgia player is on the all-conference team on 1st or 2nd team in the SEC. So when you guys say, Rico, you know what you're talking about, but why is it that the coaches and the media all value these other players at other teams? It's because they're better. And then you got these young guys here who got to figure it out. It's just going to take 2 or 3 years for them to be more mature physically and for them to be at their peak, seniors and all that stuff, and then they'll be rocking. But right now, going into this season, it's an 8. And an 8 isn't terrible. 8 is above average. 8 is cool. Shout out to them. Yeah, they're talented players. They could move all the way to 8.5 during the season, I'm sure of it. But this is not what you think it is. And people lecturing me in the comments, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, man, I do this for a living. Like, I just sit here. You think I don't know what I'm talking about for a living? That would be fucking crazy if I just sat around. Somehow I'm making all this money, not knowing a clue what I'm doing, right? Okay, let's get to Hawaii. Hawaii, you know the deal. They have a great quarterback. Good young kid who's going to go out there and air it out. Amazing wide receivers. And you see it here. No running back room, no tight end room. They now have a tight end on the roster. They didn't have tight ends listed. Man, our lads is trash. Doesn't matter. They don't use tight ends. They use 4 receiver sets. It doesn't matter. Offensive line, just a little bit above average, 4.5. We'll talk about it. I say above average for a group of 5 team. Let's look at what they got here. So Dean Brisky is converted defensive lineman, mainly on special teams, 6'5", 300 pounds from Samoa. He used to wear number 34. So remember, I watch tape based on numbers. I'm watching this guy. Hard to tell what he can do at left tackle. Apparently, he's extremely athletic. He's one of the better players on the team. They want to get him on the field. So there you go. Converted him from defensive line to offensive line, and he's now your left tackle. I don't know how you're finding this guy instead of somebody from the transport. Now, maybe you don't have the money for it, but you got to convince somebody to come to the island, bro. The island's beautiful. Get over there. I'm just saying. Next is Sotelo, Zen Sotelo. Started 9 games last season. He missed 3 with an injury. Solid PFF scores. You rarely hear me say that about a player, but I think he's better than the average group of 5 guard. I like him. Spencer, average starting center, no big deal. Started 4 games last year. Didn't pop on tape for me. Not terrible, not great. Then we have, say the name for me, bro. Pahapa, best offensive lineman on the team. 59 is the best offensive lineman on the team. Multi-year starter, watching the tape, and I go, that's a player. And that's what you guys got to understand is I'm watching tape alphabetically. So I'm watching all the Georgia linemen, and then I go to the Hawaii linemen, I'm like, oh, this sucks. But because they're not as talented as those Georgia guys, right? But I always keep it in perspective. I'm like, okay, let me go back and look at another team. And when I start looking at group of 5 teams, a little bit better than average. And that's their best player, their right guard, 59. Then we have James Milovale, whatever. So these are seniors, bro. Seniors, been around a while. Helps the strong side, or I said it helps the strong right side of their offensive line. Started last season. He's a hidden gem. I also saw him playing guard at times. He can play guard. Although he's 6'6", 320, they're probably going to leave him out there. But yeah, pretty good right side. Not proven anywhere else, but pretty good. Shout out to Hawaii. Houston has an average offensive line room. They really do. That's why they got a 7. And even with all the transfers, it's fine. It's a power 4 offensive line room. They're doing the best they can. David out at left tackle, started his career at Western Kentucky. I believe he's NFL caliber. Wouldn't be surprised to see him getting drafted. Now, where is he going to get drafted? I don't know. But he's 6'6", 325. You guys can go back and watch the NFL draft evaluations, and we're probably going to go back and watch these episodes when I was talking about these players, and I think I'm going to be right. Okay, he just looks like an NFL caliber player to me at left tackle. Pretty special stuff. At left guard, they have Jason Brooks. I'm sure he's there. Yep. He's a transfer from Oklahoma State, 6'4", 315, over 1,000 snaps in his career. He started his career at Vandy, but he didn't play last season. I think he's limited on talent, but it's a good transfer because you're getting a senior guy, a physically developed person, so that's fine. He's just not the most talented guy, Jason Brooks. Demetrius Hunter at center. This is a guy that started every game last year, played the most snaps of any Houston player, so shout out to him. I think he's a good safety blanket, and they're going to need that when you got a guy like Connor Wegman coming in, new cadence, new quarterback, new stuff, but you got a guy that's already done it before. Wyckoff, you guys know the deal with Wyckoff? I hope you do. Shout out to Wyckoff. He spent the last 2 seasons at Cal. He started his career at Texas A&M, but I think he can play anywhere on the offensive line. Now, let's go talk about the tape because he's been a starter for years at different schools and stuff. Matthew Wyckoff was absolutely terrible on tape. Absolutely terrible on tape. He has over 1,600 plays in his career, snaps. Played a lot at A&M, played a lot at Cal. You got to find guys. And they found a guy. And they believe in him. And they're rocking with him. Welcome back to Texas. So the tape at Cal is so bad. It's so bad. I was watching his plays at Cal last year, and I just went, ugh. Just getting beat everywhere. Just not good. I think at one point he was playing tackle, and now he's at guard. So good to him. Dalton Merriman is the right tackle here. This is another transfer. He's a Texas Tech transfer, former JUCO guy. He began his career at Tarleton State. Then he went to Texas Tech, but he missed 2023 due to injuries. I think he has 6 starts last year. Not that great. But you're getting a quality player that you know can play in the Big 12. I say quality. You're getting, what's the word I want to use? Like dependable players. Like they're fine. They're definitely starting caliber players versus the backups on your roster. for sure. So shout out to Houston. Illinois, it's night and day when you're reviewing Illinois' tape. Now, Illinois, their schedule's daunting. Their schedule is absolutely daunting. Illinois has a tough draw in the Big Ten this year. But if you're looking for a team that everybody's sleeping on, it's Illinois. And they probably shouldn't be sleeping on Illinois. This was a team that just won 9 games last year. And it's going to be tough to win 9 games this year. But when you return the entire offensive line from last year, it's pretty awesome. So shout out to Bray Lynch, their offensive coordinator. He's got a gift in front of him. He's got Luke Altmaier. They kept him on the team. This is an elite quarterback. It really is. And the offensive line is there. I'm sure people wanted all these players, and they kept it all intact. So you have J.C. Davis. Notice there's no yellow. And these are redshirt senior, a junior, and then a redshirt, another senior. Very, very experienced line. Huge guy. So J.C. Davis, first team all Big Ten preseason. He's number 1 in the Big Ten at left tackle. There's no way to get around that. He's a stud. 37 consecutive starts. He was third team Big Ten last year. You know who the other Big Ten players were that are ahead of him? They're all in the NFL right now. Okay, he's a former New Mexico guy. He was a transfer, Northern California kid. He's from McClemens. Did I say it right? McClemens, the Oakland high school. He was also a JUCO player early in his career out of Contra Costa JUCO back in 2021. We got Getsky at left guard. Getsky's a Big Ten honorable mention last season. Starting left guard last season, young stud. Kreutz is at center. Kreutz is a team captain. 25 consecutive starts, multi-year starter. So that's 3 slam dunks in a row at that point. And then you have Henderson. He's huge. Henderson is huge. Watching the tape, 6'5", 340, 7 starts last year. Former 3-star, but he's developed into a Big Ten starter. I like him. And then Priestley at right tackle, 4th all Big Ten preseason team. I don't know how many teams they make in the preseason, but there's 4 of them. I wrote he's a top 100 player. Top 100 player. Multi-year starter. Used to start at Grambling State. And then he's here. The other 2 transfers I want to talk about are McMillan and Aiden Knapp. I said they added depth in their seniors. They just went out and got guys to make sure they don't have anything fall off, no wheels fall off, but it looks really, really good. I can tell they invested in the trenches at Illinois. On the offensive line and the defensive line, if they have NIL money, it's going to those positions for sure because they kept them intact. The continuity of them is real, and then they restocked on the defensive line. Shout out to, like Tommy Waduraje, big Tommy coming back to the Big Ten, or I shouldn't say coming back to the Big Ten, but he started at Kentucky, transferred to West Virginia, transferred to Florida State, and now he's here. Just hasn't played enough in his career, but I know how good he is. Friend of the channel, by the way. And shout out to James Thompson. I'll be getting into that on the defensive line podcast. But Illinois just looks like they're dominating the trenches. You see the score, 84.58%. Please understand, 84.5%. Significantly better than Houston. 84 is right there with Georgia, just below Georgia Tech. But it's comparable to those teams that are going to be good this year. It is. It's comparable. Schedule's going to be difficult, so they got to win a couple coin flips. Look at that. 84.5%. Indiana's in 85. They're right there with each other on offense only. Let's go look at Indiana. You see how long this is? If you ever wondered what this is right here, when you see all this, it's because I have a lot of notes. I guess I could clean it up for the episode, but I don't. So Indiana is sitting here filling up the whole screen, and it's because that is how long the notes page is for Indiana, which is pretty remarkable. It'll get smaller. I have some spacing in there and some things, but I expect every single team to have a book by the time I'm done with the season because I'm writing notes all season long. That's how my database works. And this is 2025. Then we just copy it over for 26, make changes for the transfer portal, and we keep it going. So shout out to Indiana here. Let's talk about them. Obviously, they won 11 games last year. I predicted they would win 11 games. If you watched the Futures Bet video, a video just like this one I made last year, and I was screaming, sell your car and put it all on Indiana. Vegas had them at 5.5, and I was just like, I don't get it, guys. Please listen to me. I personally put 10 units on it, and we walked away feeling pretty good. Shout out to Kim. She just opened the garage door below me. She just got home. My Corvette is safe. Just so you know, she took the 6-figure car all weekend long for 5 days. Shout out to her birthday. Went to go hang out with her granddaughter, son, and mother out in Virginia. Back to the show. Looking at Indiana. Indiana, I gave them a 9. They have a very good offensive line, period. Carter Smith is second team all Big Ten. Carter Smith over here at left tackle. The bee's knees. Best offensive lineman on the team. He started 25 of his 27 career games. I like him a lot. It's hard to be all conference in the Big Ten. and he was honorable mention last year. He is really good. So Carter Smith, watch the tape. Their left tackle is not to be played with. Pretty good stuff. Drew Evans is the left guard. He started his career at Wisconsin. And what I put was, obviously he started 9 games last year, but he's 6'4", 306, looks above average in the Power 4. Then they have Pat Coogan here. Pat Coogan, you guys know Pat Coogan. Even if you don't, you do know him, but you don't know that you know him. This is the guy who was a backup center at, well, first he was a starter at Notre Dame. Then he got put to be the backup center at Notre Dame. Then there was an injury to the starter, and then he became the starter. And Pat Coogan was the starter until he got hurt, and then they had to play another guy. There's a lot of depth issues going on at Notre Dame on their journey to the national championship as the runner-up last year. But Pat Coogan is that guy. If you ever watched any of the pregame highlights and stuff or the pregame preparation for the games, Pat Coogan's the guy who's cursing and giving a hell of a pep talk to his team. He's getting them all pumped up before the game. We're about to go into fire. We're going to do this shit. Blah, blah, blah. And he's that guy. So he's the pregame speech guy, but he's also a very good football player. He started 13 games at center. He's played, I think he has 26 starts in his career. And he started all his games at left guard back in 2023. I went back and watched the tape at Notre Dame in 2023. All of them at left guard. So he has a plethora of experience. I think he's a very good football player, and I think they're happy to have him. And I know Notre Dame's hating life right now not having Pat, especially with the injuries that they just had at guard. He would have been a no-brainer starter for Notre Dame right now at right guard because of the 4th of July incident. But we'll get into that when we get to Notre Dame. The other guy they have is Bray Lynch. Bray Lynch is a Westlake, Texas product. Shout out to Westlake out in Texas. Pretty awesome. Started 13 games last year. He's a top 10 offensive lineman in the Big Ten. I was putting them all in order. He's top 10 for me. He's all conference caliber to me, but he's not on the all conference teams. You'll hear this from time to time. I'll just talk about a player, and I'll be like, that guy's all conference. That guy's a stud, and they're missing it. They're getting it wrong. And it's just my evaluation of talent and players. We all do it differently. All coaches do it differently, and when I look at it, sometimes I value a certain player differently from others. When I look at Bray Lynch, I love his leverage, I love his lean, I love his balance, I love the way he recovers, the way he picks up blitzes, the way he communicates with his teammates. Everything about him is just on point. Pad level at contact, anchors down really well. I could go on and on and on about all the stereotypical things people say about offensive linemen. It's not necessary. Like, I don't like to come in here and over jargon shit for you guys just so I can sound like I know what I'm talking about. I don't like to do that at all. I just look at him and go, that dude's a player. He's top 10 for me. And somebody will be like, well, what's the criteria for that? Shut up, bro. Because you want to have a nerded out conversation about PFF and some other shit. Just leave me alone. I do my evaluations and I keep it moving. I like Bray Lynch a lot. So complete studs to this point. And then you got Zen coming in. He's an Ohio State transfer. The only question mark on the whole thing. Yes, he started 1 game at Ohio State. He's played in 29 games, mostly special teams. He missed 9 games last year due to injury. He's a former 4-star. Go get it. Go get it. They got Khalil Benson back. You see him there, number 67, the transfer at left guard. Khalil Benson used to be here when Indiana sucked. Hit the transfer portal, went over to Colorado, and now he's transferred back. Shout out to him. And then Matt Merrick impressed me on tape, but he's a true freshman. He did impress me on tape. He has no business seeing the field. Please, save your red shirt. Don't get on the field. I'm sure he wants to be on special teams. I'm sure. But I would save my red shirt. Get your development in, and then you can be a starter once we're done here. Shout out to Indiana. They got a 9. And it's a pretty good group of offensive line groups back to back to back. You're looking at, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa. It doesn't get any better than this, man. Iowa, 9.5 on the scale. Really good. I'm sure some people think it should be a 10. I'm just not there, but it is what it is. Jack Dotzler. You got to trust Jack Dotzler. He's new to the starting lineup. I don't know much about him, but I can tell you this. If you're the starting left tackle at Iowa, you're probably really good. Probably really, really talented, athletic, and all that stuff. So I'm going to give Dotzler the benefit of the doubt. And I'll give you guys an example. If you're the starting left tackle at Iowa, I immediately assume you're about an 8. You're about an 8 individually on a scale from 1 to 10, right? You're about an 8 individually just off rip because I know who you're beating out at practice. Then you got Bo Stevens, second team all-conference in the preseason, comeback player of the year, started 12 games last year. He started 21 in his career. That is an NFL caliber player, known goods. Center Logan Jones, it says graduate next to his name. That dude's not even a student anymore. I think he's teaching classes. Logan Jones, first team all Big Ten preseason, absolute monster, was an honorable mention All-American, second team all-conference last year. Slam dunk right there in the middle. Left guard, center, grown men, not messing with him. Cade Piper at right guard. He played 11 games last season. He's still young. This is a Nebraska kid. I'm watching him. Just another one of them Iowa corn-fed dudes. Shout out to him. And then Jennings Dunker at right tackle. First team All Big Ten preseason. My favorite player on the offensive line. I said he looks like a grown man. Second team All-American preseason. 25 career starts. 2023, missed a couple games. I think I got to move this up. I'm not going to give him a 10, but I'm going to give him a 9.75. Just off as I'm sitting here just looking at it again. So that's bad. That's on me for top 25 rooms. We adjusted. People will say we lied and I missed or something. A very, very good offensive line group for Iowa. What else is new, right? Iowa State. You guys know I've been high on Iowa State for 2 years now, and all they've done is prove me right. Matt Campbell took a team that was known for having gambling issues. Shout out to Hunter Deckers and the boys. And he took these guys, and they won 4 games that first year, and then he flipped them from 4 wins to something real. Everybody always talks about the improvement at Colorado, how they went from 1 to 4, from 4 to 9. Like, I'm looking at Iowa State, and I'm going, they were at the bottom of the Big 10, of the Big 12, and now they're fighting for conference championships. And they're relevant. I really like them. Now, they're going to have to find some answers at wide receiver this year, and I really like Xavier Townsend's tape, and Chase Sewell's fine. But offensive line, it's above average. It's an 8. Offensive line is solid. I'll give it that. So when we're looking at it, I've got James Neal, 6'6", 325, started 7 games last year. He's played in 14. He's a stereotypical left tackle. I like him a lot. In 2023, he started all the games, so he's a multi-year starter. He's good to go. Dylan Barrett started his career at Wisconsin, didn't see the field at Wisconsin. Came over here, he got 8 starts. He did miss 6 games due to injury, but he's still a good player. I like him a lot. Black at center, Brennan Black. He moved to center. He was the starting right guard last season. Moving in there, he's going to be the captain of this line, talking to everybody. It's good stuff. Then you got Hassert coming in. Dalen Hassert, first time starting. Hasn't put much on tape, but he is 6'4", 320. That's why you end up with an 8. Just something like that can go wrong. That's a 7. If you've never been starting before, I go watch the tape. It's not much I can tell. Good luck. I hope it happens for you. They didn't bring in any transfers to address that position group, so they probably like where he's at. That's how you can tell coaches are concerned about a specific spot on the offensive line, is they'll bring transfers in to challenge you and push at that group. They didn't do that. And then they have Tyler Miller. Tyler Miller is 6'9", 335. You heard me right. 6'9", 335. He blocks out the sun. He's enormous. Tyler Miller, multi-year starter, best offensive lineman on the team, been starting for 3 years. I think I got to give them an 8.25 at least. Yeah, we'll do that. So Iowa State, like where they're at. They're doing well. They'll be fine. Shout out to Rocco Becht and the boys. Jacksonville State, 3.5. I've seen on a lot of charts Jacksonville State is like a conference favorite in Conference USA, and I just don't agree. I don't agree. First and foremost, I want to tell you guys, I've watched Charles Kelly do less with more his entire life. This is a guy who took over the Florida State defensive coordinator job after Jimbo Fisher won the national title and just ran it into the ground. Couldn't do anything with it. So then he went to Alabama. He got a job as an analyst under Coach Nick Saban. It was really just his ability to recruit as a defensive backs coach and a secondary coach. But it was really just he's got the gift of recruiting. He talks. He's authoritative. He looks the part. But he can't coach. He can't. If your players can't be an extension of you on the field, then you're not any good. So now we know that he doesn't have the offensive acumen. It's supposed to be defensive, and he's not good defensively. Just not. The results speak for themselves. He was the defensive coordinator at Colorado. They were terrible. So then he leaves. I think he was at Auburn last year as a secondary coach. That wasn't good. And now he's got a head coaching job at Jacksonville State, and I don't get it. He knows the area. He's got the pipeline. He knows how to recruit in that area. You can see the caliber of player they're getting. They're convincing certain players to show up that aren't normally, that aren't normally going to a school like this. Like, there you go, Traquan Fagans. It's a guy that he recruited to Alabama. And he's been everywhere because of him. But look, he addressed the secondary because that's what he knows so well. He doesn't do this part that well. I'm just letting you know. So it looks pretty bleak to me. I don't understand why anybody's really high on Jacksonville State at all. Jacksonville State's success was because they found great small school guys, Division II guys. And they found Trey Stewart like an All-American a quarterback from Holy Cross. No, where was he from? Quarterback from, like, Furman. You got to go out and find gems at this lower echelon. You don't go get the hand-me-downs and the leftovers from the Power 4 teams. Good luck. Good luck. Nonetheless, offensive line. Shout out to Jacksonville State. So at left tackle, Reggie Jackson. He's a transfer from Tusculum. Played in 2 games last season. I have no idea about this guy is what I wrote. Cameron Griffin, 6'4", 300 pounds. Good prospect for a group of 5 team. Started 2 games. Think he's a good prospect. Cool. Cole Robertson, 0 tape. Or almost 0 tape. Amari Bubba Grayson, the best player on this team. Teams are going to find out about him. He's going to hit the transfer portal next year. I'm calling it now. Amari Bubba Grayson, 2024 All-Conference freshman. 8 starts as a true freshman. I go watch the tape. That dude don't belong here. That dude's good. Crazy good. Shout out to Stockbridge. I got a guy named Chef Damon. I know he watches me on TikTok. He's a Stockbridge high school fan. Shout out to him. They're pretty good. Right tackle, KD Small. I wrote JUCO, another guy with 0 tape. Only played against Southern Miss, and it was at left tackle. I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know. In the group of 5 world, this is bad. And I went 3.5 just because I know Amari's here. I know that KD Small can play at left tackle, so he's probably pretty skilled. But this shouldn't even be a 3.5. You know what? It should be at least a 3 at best. Just keeping it real. Next team, JMU. A lot of notes on JMU, mainly because I just keep a running tab on some of my predictions and stuff. We know who JMU is. We know how great they are. Shout out to Bob Chesney and what they're building at JMU. I'll talk to you guys at length about the offensive line. Joseph Simmons here at left tackle. Joseph Simmons started 1 game last season. It was the bowl game. I went back and watched him. I like that he gives effort on every play, but he's not the most fluid guy. He is 6'6", 323. He doesn't move that well. He can get beat, and if he gets beat, he doesn't recover well. I don't like that in left tackles. So he's not the greatest guy. No, I don't like it. I got it. He's probably very big and imposing, and you see them bring in transfers to try to challenge you in certain spots. He just doesn't move me like that. Carter Swayze, 3rd team all-conference in the preseason. He started last season. Looks like an above-average guy in the group of 5. Not a bad player. Zach Greenberg, 4th team all preseason. He's a North Carolina transfer. Now they say North Carolina, but before he was at North Carolina, he was a Division III Muhlenberg player. Where the hell is Muhlenberg? Muhlenberg. That's where he was at, and he was an all-conference guy at Muhlenberg. He did miss 2022 with an injury, but they know he's an all-conference guy. He just couldn't play in North Carolina. It's too big of a jump. You go from Division III to North Carolina, probably too big of a jump. This seems a little more realistic, more down his lane. It works out for him. Then we got Riley, young guy, 1 start last season. His high school tape was elite, but it was defensive line. He was a defensive lineman on his huddle tape. Went and watched it in Pennsylvania. I was like, damn, I still don't know if this guy can block. Apparently, he's blocking his ass off at practice. And then McMurtry here. McMurtry, man, how did I give these guys a 7? Just because McMurtry, he's a first-team All-Sun Belt, Holy Cross transfer. He came over with Bob Chesney and staff. He's a first-team All-Conference last year. He's been starting since 2020. I think he's an NFL draft pick. Maybe that's why I gave him a 7, because you got an NFL draft pick on the line. Cam McNair, I'll talk about him coming over right there. 3rd team preseason Sun Belt. He's not currently listed as a starter, but if they put him on the preseason third team, we got to see who's starting left tackle. If it's McMurtry, that makes sense. And then we let Cam McNair start at right tackle. That makes sense. Put your best player on your entire team at left tackle, please, for the love of God. Because Joseph Simmons, a little lumbering and can get beat. I don't like it. So that makes a little more sense to me if I was rearranging this offensive line. But JMU got some talented players. They just got to get them all on the field. Find the right 5, that kind of deal. Kansas offensive line group is probably the best thing about the team. And they're young. They're not like all seniors. They're not all terrible. I'm telling you, man, Kansas is all right on the offensive line. They are. The wide receiver room leaves a lot to be answered and questioned and desired, all that stuff. I'm not sure. But the offensive line, Calvin Clements up there, 6'7", 315. I'm watching his tape. You know, he started playing football, 8-man football. 8-man football back in the 6th grade. It's pretty crazy stuff. He did start against Baylor. We'll see if he's any good. He is young. And he's out here, and he's huge, 6'7", 315. Don't let that roll off the tongue too fast, and you don't realize how big of that person is. Bryce Foster, 1st team All conference. Shout out to Bryce. Oh, James Livingston. I almost missed him. No college film on him. A 2 or 3 star guy. And here he is. And then we have Bryce. He's a first team all conference. Big 12. Texas A&M transfer. All SEC when he was a freshman in the SEC. Bryce Foster's too good to be at Kansas. I like him a lot. I do. Okay. Kobe Baines. Good size from Sandalwood High School. Perennial power. Shout out to Florida. Started 12 games last year. Originally from Louisville, but he didn't play over at Louisville. Good to have a senior there. And then you have Enrique Cruz coming in through the transfer portal. This is a Syracuse transfer. He started every game in 2023, and he didn't allow a sack as a left tackle. Didn't play much last year, but he started every game in 2023. He had a new coaching staff. There's a turnover, that kind of deal. It is what it is. So shout out to him. Jack Tanner up top. Jack Tanner, the transfer. He's a Tulsa transfer. Good young prospect, good young cheap depth. It's no big deal. We have TT up in here, a UCLA transfer, 6'6", 325. He started one game. He looks promising. And then Tyler Mercer, will be the center of the future. He started 6 games as a true freshman at North Texas and then jumped in the portal. I said his tape is solid at left tackle. He moves well in space, Tyler Mercer. So it kind of makes sense. I think they're doing well. Kansas is doing fine. This score might be a little high. Nah. Bryce Foster, Kobe Baines, Enrique Cruz. It feels a little high. There you go. 7.75. It's important, guys. It's important. The numbers mean stuff. Let's go to Kansas State. You guys know I haven't been really high on Kansas State for a while. If you follow the channel. It's like they've been rocking with Avery Johnson at quarterback for years now, and Avery Johnson is not good as a quarterback. He really isn't. There's a lot of hype from recruiting websites. They'll show you highlight tapes of him throwing things. But if K-State's going into a season with Avery Johnson, I just don't believe it. It's like somebody who keeps getting DUIs. And you're like, all right, well, you just know you can't trust that guy to go out drinking. He's going to go get a DUI. And then to solve the problem, instead of stop drinking, they just stop driving. Like, isn't that a crazy concept? I want to not get DUIs anymore, and they don't recognize the problem is their drinking. They say, oh, no, the problem is my driving. I'm going to stop driving. I'm going to keep drinking, but I'm going to stop driving. That is K-State, bro. The problem's your quarterback, and they're like, yeah, the problem's probably, no, we're gonna keep going this route. We're going to stick with Avery here. So shout out to Avery Johnson. I hope he's everything you dreamed he would be. I hope so. George Fitzpatrick here, Ohio State transfer. He has been at Ohio State for 3 years. He was always a special teams guy, never saw anything at the collegiate level, no tape whatsoever, and yet he's penciled in as a left tackle for K-State. That's probably a good thing. I'm telling you, if you're in the 2 deep at Ohio State, you're pretty talented. You can probably start at K-State. So here he is. I hope he's out there doing his thing. Obviously, they have transfers. They brought in Enos over there. Terrence Enos, he's a Pitt transfer. Started 4 games. He has actual tape. I like him. I could look at him because he has actual tape versus somebody like Fitzpatrick, no tape. Now, they go to practice. One guy beats out the other. I have no control over that. I don't know. I'm not at practice. I got to trust the coaches are evaluating it correctly. But if you compare these two and their tape, Enos is getting the edge. Ennis is getting the edge. I'm just letting you know. Okay? Lengang here. Andrew Lengang started 2 games last season at right tackle. Hasn't played much for a senior. So he's been in the program for a long time. And remember, when you're an offensive lineman, you've been at a school for 3, 4, 5 years. You've been lifting weights. You've been in the weight program with them. You've been learning. Why the hell aren't you on the field? Maybe you're ready to do it. Sam Hecht, starting center, started 13 games last year. Second team All-Big 12 last year, but not on the preseason list this year. I don't understand that. Good person to have, good player to have. Shout out to Sam Hecht, hell of a center. Okay. Taylor Portier started 13 games last year. Portier started 13 games, so we have a great center, great right guard, and then Pastor is, I wrote average power 4 right tackle. That's what I wrote. That's not a good thing to be. You're just okay. All in all, not terrible. I like JB Nelson. He's a Penn State transfer, former JUCO guy. 8 starts back in 2023. Honorable mention, Big Ten. He didn't play much in 2024. He adds quality depth. He could start. Just maybe not right here, but he could do something. You could use that guy. They have depth on the offensive line at K-State if something goes wrong. They do. Let me tell you who doesn't have depth. Kennesaw. Ain't nothing to it. Kennesaw. You should have went and recruited my boy. I'm just saying. I had a player from the state of Georgia, and you guys weren't interested in him. I wrote to all the coaches. And he ended up signing with La Tech. These guys didn't want to sign him. They left me on red. Tried to help you, Kennesaw. I had a bona fide FBS caliber offensive lineman from Camden County, and you guys ignored me. Check your inboxes, coaches. It is what it is. All right, so we got Renee Miller over here. Renee Miller, 3-star, St. Francis Academy, Garden City Community College, used to be at Charlotte. Remember when they all went to Biff Poggi and all that stuff? He's a good player, but here's the thing. He played 11 games at Alcorn State, and the tape was unbearable, is what I wrote. Unbearable. And usually that means it's like blurry. It's from far away. I can't even tell what's going on. I don't know how teams are identifying Renee Miller can play. I don't know. And then you get him on campus, and he's beating out whoever you have on the team. That's scary to me because I watched Renee Miller's tape, and I had to turn it off. And I watch tape all day long. Renee Miller, not good tape. JT Pennington, left guard. Jacksonville State. He started there and he'd been there a while. He had 10 starts last year. He's a big guy, 6'4", 321. He used to he's the one with the terrible profile pic. Let's see if it's on here. You got to go to the school website. This guy. Ooh, nope, this ain't the picture I'm talking about. This ain't the picture, bro. There it is. Look at that profile pic. Oh my goodness. This dude's hideous, bro. Retake the photo. Come on, let me get a second jump at that joint, bruh. You ever take a selfie and be like, nah, that ain't the one I'm going to post. This one's for the whole world to see. Terrible profile pic. Just letting you know. Shout out to him. Anyways, JT Pennington. Been around for a little bit. It is what it is. Cameron Williams came into the transfer portal. I wrote he looks overweight. Alabama A&M transfer, 4-year starter over there. 2,500 snaps. 11-game starter, was all conference in the SWAC. That doesn't really mean much to me. I don't think he was a center at Alabama A&M. I watched 2 games and couldn't find number 64 on the field. A lot of that has to do with the fact they probably changed numbers. And I want to say this. I was watching Alabama A&M tape for Carson Vincent, the NFL draft pick. He was on my Deep Hidden Gem if you watch the NFL draft podcast videos and stuff. And I'm watching Alabama A&M, but it's not just them. It's so many teams are not updating their school websites. They're changing jersey numbers for the next year. So if you try to go watch tape on a player from a year prior, you don't know what number they were. And they're taking everything offline. There are some schools not even putting up their roster. A&M wouldn't put up their depth chart until the school's year starts. There's some schools that are not updating the website at all. No spring football tape. They're just all trying to hide their rosters. And it's because they don't want to get poached or whatever. I'm like, bro, stop this shit, bro. I got to find out who's starting for you, and I got to go look at their tape, and you guys take it down. I even went to several players' huddle tape, and it's taken offline. The school told them, don't put it up. I even wrote to a player. I'm like, yo, man, where's your huddle tape? Oh, we had to take it offline. Crazy shit, bro. I wrote to one coaching staff and said, hey, is this guy still on your team? No one will answer me. I tagged the fan pages, the school. I'm not even joking. It's like, I think it's San Diego State. I'm like, is this guy still on the roster? Because he's not on the school website, and I know he's supposed to be starting for you this year, and he didn't hit the transfer portal. Nobody wants you to know shit. This is a real hard battle up here. Shout out to them. Anyways, who was I talking about? The Milton product. Brandon Best. Brandon Best, pretty good player. Used to play at Milton. Milton's a good school. 6'4", 313. He's a Georgia Tech transfer. This is pretty good get for Kennesaw. I want you guys to think about this. You're coming out of high school. You play 7A football for the premier program, state championship team, Milton. And you're a 7A guard, 3 stars. Georgia Tech signs you. And now you're at Kennesaw. Kennesaw could only dream of getting players like this. Now, he was a team captain back in 2021. They didn't win the state title that year. They got there and lost. But now, if only they could get Jordan McDonald to come back home. Jordan McDonald's been on benches at UCF and Boston College or wherever the hell he's at. And it's just one of those things. Those Milton players are very, very good. Get them to go to Kennesaw, and you're on to something. I don't know how you keep them at Kennesaw, though. Got to hire somebody else, get a different scheme going. Brandon Best, probably a joy for them to get out of Georgia Tech. Shout out to them. It's cool. Last guy, Seaburn Hines over here. Seaburn Hines, Georgia Southern transfer back in 2021, started 7 games last year, slowly getting into the lineup. Not a bad lineup, bro. I'm going to put some respect on their name and make it 3.5. It's not terrible. You know what, though? That Renee tape is bad, bro. That Renee tape bothers me. Oh, and then it gets worse. We go from Kennesaw to Kent State. Kent State, the worst offensive line in the FBS. Yes, they went 0-12 last year. Yes, they fired Kenny Burns. Yes, and more yeses. So let's talk about it. Junior Diallo transferring in. You know where Junior Diallo's from? I've never heard of it. North Springs Charter. Never heard of it. The high school. And I know, like, the school he went to, Emory and Henry. It's a Division II school. He played 11 games in 3 years at Emory and Henry. Yet he jumps in the portal. He comes across as a high character guy, by the way. Jumps in the portal, and he gets offers from Missouri State, Georgia State, North Alabama, and Kent State. I don't know what this is. I don't know. Man, these guys, I want to give them a lot of credit. The Kent State coaching staff, for them to find players to go to this school, they got to be digging in the crates and find some gems nobody's looking at. I'd be interested in going to Kent State if I was looking for an FBS offer. I couldn't find anybody, and then Kent State called. I'd be interested, right? But they go and sign players, and then they have no more room. And by the time I got a player for them, it's like they're full. They're full because I got guys that can start at Kent State. And when I say I got guys, I'm talking about the Rico Knows Hidden Gems playlist of the players I represent on Twitter. And I can get them to sign anywhere. We can get them anywhere. They need offers. They're looking for, and they're better than the players you got on that team. This is bad. All right? Garrett Masterson's the next guy. Isn't that the name of one of them dudes who got arrested? That's not him. One of them dudes who got arrested for something. I wrote, he looks frumpy. He started 6 games last year. Looks frumpy is what I wrote. Hey, I'm watching tape, bro. Shout out to you. Center, Jeff Burton, transferring in. Jeff Burton, not on the roster. I remember when he was a Grand Valley State transfer, and I think he was at Georgia State last year. Jeff Burton, Grand Valley State. Shout out to the GLIAC. If you don't know who the GLIAC is, it's Division II. It's like the SEC of Division II football, and that's where he's originally transferring from. Dustin Morrill here started 11 games last year. Dustin and Garrett Matterson are from the same high school, or Garrett Masterson. Garrett Masterson and Dustin Morrill are from the same high school, bro. What is going on? That's crazy to me. You can't be recruiting from the same high school if you're Kent State. You can't get a pipeline from that school, whatever school it is. I'm watching the tape, and I'm like, hey, these colors look familiar. And I'm like, oh, shit, it's the other guy from the same high school. Yeah, this is just proof I go and watch all the huddle tape I can find, and it's gross. Jamarcus Hill coming in at right tackle. He's a transfer from his high school was Jefferson. You guys remember Malachi Starks? Georgia, free safety? Malachi Starks. Did Caleb Downs play there too? No. Sammy Brown played there. No, Caleb Downs played at Mill Creek. So anyways, no, Jefferson High School here in Georgia. This is where Malachi Starks was a star running back, and Jamaris Hill was a blocker for him. So he used to go to Southeast Missouri. This is weird. He had 6 starts at left tackle for an FCS school. So once again, if you can start at left tackle, you're the best lineman on that team. You're coming from an FCS program in Southeast Missouri. That's SEMO. And you're the starting left tackle over there. You move over to Kent State, and now you're the starting right tackle. Sounds like the right move. You're getting the best player from that team, moving him over here. It's fine. This is scraps, bro. Scrap metal. Kent State on them scraps. Look at Kentucky. For years, Kentucky complained they didn't have a good offensive line, and they had all these other star players. And then this year, their skill players got rated by the transfer portal, and they finally have a decent offensive line. They do. They're 8.5 on the offensive line. It's fine. They still got decent players here and there, but they don't have what they're looking for at the skill position. So they have Big Pete at left tackle. If you don't know Big Pete, he's an Indian. Like, I'm serious. He's an Indian. He's a Native American. He's been starting at New Mexico State left tackle for 30 games. He's elite. He's allowed a ton of sacks. But I wouldn't even blame him for it because the New Mexico State team is just bad. Like, New Mexico State quarterback play was terrible last year. They had a third-string quarterback, a JUCO kid named Nunez one night. Brandon Nunez. He ruined, like, all our bets one night. Starter went down. We knew they had terrible quarterback play, and I told everybody, oh, bet on the under, bet on this, bet on that, bet on that. And then he came off the bench and sparked them into covering the spread and scoring 2 touchdowns. It's terrible. So Pete shouldn't be blamed for that. Pete's a good player. He's been around for a long time. He used to block on the blind side for Diego Pavia when he was at New Mexico State. Big guy. When the whole coaching staff left, he stayed loyal. He's mature. He's just grown. And he's one of them dudes. He's one of the big Indian dudes, okay? And he's huge. I think he's 6'8", guys. He's enormous. Jaeger Burton. Why am I saying Jaeger Burton? Where's Joshua Braun? Oh, they moved Joshua to right tackle. Huh. They moved these guys around after I did what I did. Apparently, Alex is moving to center. Listen to what I have to say. Listen to what I have to say about this. This is going to be crazy. Joshua Braun, 2 years at Arkansas, 3 years at Florida. 50 games in his career, 32 starts. He started last year as well. I think he's a stud. I said he's not all SEC this year. Wasn't on any of the all-conference teams, but I think he's good. And now I see they moved him to right tackle. He's going to be the left guard. Jaeger Burton was supposed to be the center. Now he got moved to left guard. Jaeger Burton is 6'4", 323, 34 starts. He's played in 38 games. I said he's a guard. He moved to center to replace all-time great Eli Cox. So obviously Eli Cox is gone. They're trying to find the right answer. If you didn't know who Eli Cox is, he started like 50 games for, I'm not even exaggerating. I think he played in 50 games or started 50 games for Kentucky. Just went to the NFL. Eli Cox is great. So they had to replace him, but there you go. Then we have Jaeger. Where's it? Oh, yeah, I just talked about Jaeger. Jalen Farmer, they left him. All right, Florida transfer, started 12 games for Kentucky last season. I think he saw it on tape, didn't play much at Florida. So he got over here, started playing. And then Alex, who they now moved to center. This is crazy. Shout out to Alex for being a good team player. This is a guy who used to be at Bowling Green for many, many years at Bowling Green. He was the starting left tackle at Bowling Green, team captain, over 2,300 career snaps, 2-time all-conference, 3-year starter. And it looks like he's just a leader among men, and they're going to put him at center. I still give them the same grade. I still think they're pretty good. I just want to give the coaches credit for moving things around that works for them. It's good. It's good. Kentucky offensive line, 8.5 works. Pretty good stuff. And I just learned something about the team right now. I'll fix it after the video, moving guys around and making sure we go there. La Tech. Oh, by the way, you should be watching this at 1.5 playback speed. We are capping these all off at 2 hours in length. We should get 3 episodes out of the offensive line group. We'll see what happens here. So La Tech, starting off with Kenneth Bannister. He is a left tackle from Edna Carr, which is a good program out in Louisiana, 6'3", 312. He hasn't played yet, but he's a senior, and he's been around. So, yeah, we're good. I said he hasn't played yet. He just hasn't started. He did play in a game, and then he started back in 2023, one game, but he's not been in the starting lineup like you think. Ashante Cole, Grambling State transfer, was a preseason 2024 all-conference USA second team. Didn't quite live up to the hype, but I got to imagine they're happy with him being here. Shout out to Asante Cole. A team like La Tech's got to take what they can get. They're going to fire Cumbie soon if they don't have a good year. I know they got to fire him. Come on, man. Landon Nelson, former Iowa Western transfer, 10 starts at center last season. Missed 2 games because of an injury. Played small school ball in Iowa, and that's probably why he didn't get an offer coming out of high school. But he's actually a decent player, so they got him there. Landon Nelson. Jonathan Dennis, transfer from Central Missouri, and before that he was at Oregon and Miami. He looks like a recruiting miss, a former 4-star recruiting miss, but it could be a gem for La Tech. Shout out to him. He is from Homestead. You guys know Homestead, right? Homestead, Florida? If you don't know Homestead, Florida, go watch the first 48. People are dying everywhere. Every time somebody calls 911, it's in Homestead, Florida. I'm just letting you know. Shout out to him. But, yeah, he had 2 starts while he was at Miami. Jonathan Dennis. It's just one of those things where you were a 4-star guy, everybody believed in you, the hype and all that, and now you're at La Tech. Probably a gem for La Tech for sure. He did have 9 starts last year at Central Missouri because he went down to Central Missouri. More power to him. And now he's back at the FBS level. Will Hutchins, the backup there. Sam Houston transfer. He's never played, but looks like a quality Texas kid, especially out of high school. I went and watched his huddle tape. It looked good. Probably going to be a starter next year, not this year. And then Hayden Chrisman, 11 starts last year as a redshirt freshman. He looks like a future star and stud. I wouldn't be surprised to see Hayden Chrisman at one time being the starting left tackle for La Tech. I can see that happening. Right now they're at 3.25 Hopefully they live up to the hype someday and get it all together. Liberty! Liberty's going to be good, guys. I was very critical of Liberty last year just because I knew they weren't going to win and go to the playoffs and all that other stuff. But they still went 8-3. They still have a good team. And you look at this roster of 56.5 or 56.25 compared to, look at La Tech, 35. 35%, 56.25. This is one of the upper tier group of 5 teams for sure. And shout out to Liberty. So, offensive line, Jack Tucker's their starting left tackle, second team USA Conference USA preseason second team, 6'7", 310. That's a Texas Tech transfer. Won a state title. Shout out to Argyle back in high school. Showed up as soon as Jamie Chadwell got the job. Jack Tucker was one of the first guys to sign with him, and he's been the bee's knees. Very good player to have at left tackle for them. Left guard is DJ Geth. He's 2 starts last season. Didn't grade out well. He is a North Carolina transfer. Didn't like his tape at all. More power to him. Center, Aaron's first team all-conference in the preseason. Shout out to Conference USA. He started 12 games last season. He is the best center in Conference USA. So that's good. The best tackle, or one of the best tackles, best center for sure. And then Harrison Hayes. What do I have on Harrison Hayes? Why do I have Cal Grubbs? Oh, Cal Grubbs. I just put him in here. He's a backup, pretty solid. Oh, that's fine. Harrison Hayes, second team preseason, all USA. I think we need to move this up to a 7 here. Started 5 games. I'm not sold on his all-conference honors, but he's a quality starter for the group of 5. Harrison Hayes. And then Christian Williams, Florida transfer, 6'4", 310, former 3-star. Hasn't seen the field at all, but it's a Florida transfer at Liberty, so it's fine. I'll leave it at a 6.75. It's not bad. Louisiana, guys, they're going to be good. Louisiana's better than Liberty. They play a better brand of football. The baseline of their athletes and their team is relevant. Remember last year I gave them all 6s. We're in the same boat. It's like 6s on defense. I gave them all 6s, and they won 10 games. We're in the same boat again. They're 6s or higher on the offensive side of the ball. Everybody here is pretty damn good, man. They're very good players. They really are. So shout out to them. Louisiana's got something cooking. Bryant Williams is their starting left tackle. 4-team Sun Belt, 6'7", 330. I said he seriously impressed me on tape. He looks like a classic blindside blocker. He looks great. Bryant Williams looks the bee's knees at left tackle for them. Caden Morrow, young, hasn't played much, but came across as a guy that's on the right path to be a multi-year starter. Cooper Fordham is the starting center. Backup last season, will be the starter the next 3 years. Not sure how good he is, but he will start for the next 3 years. Jax Harrington, that's the right guard. Second team Sun Belt. Grown man, 6'4", 330, 7th year of college football, Jax Harrington. So, great to have a 7-year guy at a group of 5 school for sure. George Jackson, 3rd team all Sun Belt, so there's 3 all-conference guys on this team. He's 6'5", 329, starter for the last 2 years. This right side is better than most group of 5 teams in America. I'm going to make this a 7.25. I am. Yeah. Just made them that much better. They're very good. Very impressed with Louisiana. Louisville, people keep asking me, Rico, how good is Louisville? They're fine. I think that I gave them an 8.25. That means they're above average. Average is 7. 8's good. 8.25, they're a little better than good, but I wouldn't say they're great by any means. Louisville, when you look at them, they brought in Pounders. He's a Mississippi State transfer, 7 starts last season, 6 starts at tackle. He absolutely dominated defenders on tape. He looked good on tape. He did. So seeing him move from Mississippi State to Louisville, it sounds like a money grab, if you will, but it's fine. Lance Robinson, that's a Houston transfer from a couple years ago, back in 2023. He missed last season with an injury, but he used to start at Houston. But when he was a right tackle, and he was always beat. Okay? He was always beat. Then he started his career at Middle Tennessee State. And he did dominate when he was in the group of 5. So I think he's a good player. He just can't play on the outside. He's a guard. He needs to be insulated and protected by his team, and they're doing that. Pete Nigra. My only knock on Pete Nigra a year ago when he transferred in from NIU was he was too small. He was like 280 pounds. But Pete Nigra should still be at NIU right now. He had 23 starts at Northern Illinois. Could you imagine if he was still at Northern Illinois? They'd win the MAC, and he'd be a huge part of the reason why. He is first team all ACC in the preseason right now. Pete Nigra. Best center in the ACC, so they say. And I'm telling you, the only thing that was wrong with him was he was small on tape, 280 pounds. You can't do the Mike Webster thing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Mike Webster, starting center for Terry Bradshaw and the Steelers back in the day. Mike Webster, I remember I had a football card of his, and he was 260 pounds when most centers were 280. He was just 20 pounds smaller. But at one point, he was a pretty big guy. But Pete Nigra showing up, he's 260, 280. I'm like, oh, this is not good. He's now 300 pounds. He's been lifting like crazy. He's been at Louisville for a little bit, and he's ready for the big time. I like Pete Nigra a lot. I imagine he'd be an NFL draft pick. I say that, but centers don't get drafted. Three centers get drafted every year, and that's about it. You can sign them as undrafted free agents. People ignore them. But Pete Nigra is a good center. They have a good nucleus up front. Lance Robinson's coming back from an injury. Pounder's finally found his way to get into the starting lineup. It's fine. It just feels a little Arkansas-ish from the past couple of years. It feels like they're signing players that I normally wouldn't want signed, or they're valuing certain players that I normally don't like. You guys know how I say this. If you've been watching the channel for a long time, I go, hey, this team evaluates talent different from me. Meaning they value the wrong things. There's been years where like a player hit the transfer portal, and I'll make a video and go, hey, guys, he's okay, but I wouldn't want him. And then he signs with Arkansas. He's okay, but I wouldn't want him. Then he signs with Syracuse, right? It's just that like there's certain teams that are Maryland, sign with certain teams, and I go, oh, no, that's not good. They did it wrong. And I feel that way about Louisville right now. I just do. Shout out to Rasheed Miller, the right guard. He was all Sun Belt 2023. I believe he's a Georgia Southern transfer. And yes, their offensive line coach is from Georgia Southern, but Richard Owens, but he didn't coach him when he was there. Richard Owens, I think, was only there a year. 13 games at right tackle. He's 6'7", 310. I feel like if Rasheed Miller's in the starting lineup at right guard, it's because they're putting their best five on the field. And that's okay. That's good. They're doing their best to get their best five out there, and he's one of them. So, problem is when I watch him on tape, I wrote, they're all 7.5-ish. Do you understand what that means, 7.5-ish? They're all a little bit above average. They're not elite. And I'm talking about an assessment of talent. They're all 7.5-ish. That's what I wrote. Obviously, except for Pete Nigra. And then we have Musa here, a late Purdue transfer. Jeff Brom was his coach back at Purdue. He was a multi-year starter at Purdue. Didn't come over initially. Waited. Stayed there with Ryan Walters. Now he jumped ship. And now he's showing up. I think this is a good pickup in the transfer portal for sure. It's a grown man to get. So all in all, you go out and find tackles. One's on his trajectory on his way up after last season. The other one is known goods. Guard coming back from injuries. Rasheed Miller probably doesn't even belong at guard, but you got to get your best five on the field. And then Pete Nigra is a slam dunk. Not a bad line. Above average for sure. And they're above good. Right? That's what an 8.25 means. They're above good. I like them. I could see them going all the way to 8.75 if things go well. So shout out to them. I will change numbers throughout the season, unlike last year when I didn't change numbers. Let's go to LSU. By the way, this chart, when predicting winning teams, if you didn't know, was over 60% last year. Predicting winning teams in coin flip games, this chart was over 60%. If the teams were equivalent and we weren't sure who to pick, we'd go to the chart, and the chart would tell us who's going to win the game. And it was right, more than it was wrong. True story. That's why we do this. Shout out to LSU. LSU brought in a bunch of transfers. That's all you need to know. They brought in a bunch of transfers. Braylon Moore, Josh Thompson. Josh Thompson, a multi-year starter out of Northwestern. Braylon Moore, a multi-year starter out of Virginia Tech. They brought them in to be starters. And if they're not going to be the starters, that tells you that these young kids at LSU are the real deal Holyfield. Real deal Holyfield. Now let's talk about this from a greater perspective right now. You can tell me I'm wrong when I evaluate players. And you can make reference to something like, well, Ohio State not being in your top 25 means you don't know ball. Texas not in your top 25 means you don't know ball. LSU at 25 means you don't know ball. Well, let me tell you who knows ball. The coaches. The coaches know ball, and they just did their voting for the all-conference SEC teams. LSU has no offensive linemen on the all-conference team. Any of them. First, second, third team. Nobody. Other teams have better players. Okay, cool. Now let's talk about these players. Tyree Adams. I'm gonna tell you right now, he only has 2 starts. But he's 6'8", former 4-star, and to me, watching him, comes across as a future draft pick. And I know what Brad Davis does, man. Brad Davis, offensive line coach at LSU, he's going to just mold these men into something great. He is the real deal Tyree Adams. I like him a lot. Talented player. Right off rip, that's like an 8 if you've never played. Could go all the way to 8.75. Then you got Mubanga here. Buford product. Shout out to Georgia. 6'5", 317. He had 5 starts as a freshman in 2024. He was a soccer player in the Congo. And he started playing football just 6 years ago. So he's got a lot of potential. He's still developing, still figuring it out. Those are phenomenal athletes on the left side of the ball. Just young guys, unproven. DJ Chester, bigger than most centers. 6'6", 315 up front. He's an Elka product. Eagles Landing Christian Academy. Shout out to Georgia. The entire LSU offensive line being built through the Georgia pipeline for sure. All SEC freshman team. He started 13 games last year as a redshirt freshman, DJ Chester. To see him beating out Braylon Moore is insane, and it's good news for LSU. That means they're evaluating offensive linemen correctly. They're developing them correctly, and it's great. Great. Cohen Eccles, he's a Katy product out of Katy, Texas, and he dominated the bowl game against Baylor. I went back and watched the bowl game against Baylor. He played well. He can also play center, won't need to. Former 4-star, 2-year starter at Katy. He moved to center his senior year, but now they're moving him to guard. I think he's good. Weston Davis is the right tackle here. 6'7", 317, former basketball player, moves very well. He played football. I think he started playing football his sophomore year in high school. Former 5-star. Just got all the right traits you're looking for. All in all, I'm impressed with LSU's development and their recruits and the talent of their players. 8.75. If you didn't know, Texas has a very similar trajectory on their offensive line, an 8.75-ish. All right, Marshall at 4. Thanks for hanging in there, MVPs. I appreciate you guys watching the show. Remember, you should be at 1.5 playback speed. Help you get through these episodes. I hope you're learning about all the offensive linemen. Marshall, Tyler McDuffie. 6'9", 365. Huge guy, 2-year starter at Hampton. Huge. Adams, what is it? Shun Marcus Adams. Who named you, bro? I don't make fun of names. He's a little chunk. I wrote he's a little chunk. JUCO transfer, 1 start last season, started his career at Grambling State before the JUCO. And I wrote little chunk. What that means is he's a tree stump. He's probably 6 feet tall and 340 pounds. That's when I write little chunk. It's somebody under 6'2" and over 320, I'm sure. I could have put tree stump. Could have put, you can't get rid of tree stump. Yeah, something like that. It is what it is. Eric Meeks is the starting center. 1 start. He's been buried on the depth chart. He's former 3-star. Comes across as an FCS caliber player. Don't like it. Jalen Slappy. What a hell of a last name. 2nd team, preseason, Sun Belt. Started 5 games as a freshman, then 13 last season. I think he's very good. Best offensive lineman on the team. I like Slappy a lot. And then Peyton Ellis. He's an East Texas A&M transfer. Last 2 years, no tape for me to review. They got Bryce Biggs. He's just a local kid coming back to West Virginia. He's got 4 years of eligibility left. No, he doesn't. What did I say? Oh, no, he was at West Virginia for 4 years. That's what I meant to say. Evan Ferguson, Gardner-Webb kid. Where's he at? Evan Ferguson, yeah, Gardner-Webb transfer, was a backup at Gardner-Webb. He's just coming home as well. He and Bryce Biggs were actually high school teammates. Shout out to them. And then Morgan Scott, MTSU's transfer. I think he could be in the starting lineup. He's just a senior, but I think he could be a starter. Look, man, I went and looked at everybody. Listen to what I'm going to say to you guys. Marshall's offensive line, I gave it a 4. It's worlds better than Southern Miss. And I know all the players left Marshall to go to Southern Miss. All the skilled players. They all followed coach, and they went down there, but they didn't bring linemen with them. I'm looking at Marshall, and I'm going, hey, they're all right. If they can figure it out, they're all right. Shout out to Tony Gibson. For sure. All right, let's go look at Maryland. Maryland's offensive line is their best group. It's the best group at Maryland. Best position group on the offense for sure. You've got Ratrell Perry, FCS all-conference transfer, Central Connecticut State. Shout out to I think they're the Blue Devils. In his 2 games against FBS teams, I only got to see 2 games because he plays at the FCS level. I don't have all those games recorded, but I went back and found they played 2 FBS teams. I found those games. He allowed no sacks in those games, so not bad. I think he's got 2 years to play here. He could be elite. We don't know. Could be elite. Looks ready. Isaiah Wright, and to see him in the starting lineup at the Big Ten is crazy. Isaiah Wright at left guard, former transfer from Buffalo. He missed 2024. Before Buffalo, though, he was at Rutgers when he came out of high school, if I remember correctly. He can also play center, but he played at left tackle when he was at Buffalo. He could also be another hidden gem. So you have Isaiah Wright playing left tackle at Buffalo, transfers in, they move him to left guard. I already told you, the most coveted position is left tackle. If you can find other left tackles to transfer in and you move them around to other positions, you're going to be okay. Those guys can play anywhere. They're usually the best offensive linemen on the other team. Michael Hershey, 3-star, appeared in 6 games, burned his red shirt, and didn't start. I don't get it. He burned his red shirt last year as a true freshman. Didn't even start. And all it was special team stuff. Like, I don't know. Alou Ba, Georgia transfer, 6'6", 330, IMG product. I like to point out the IMG alumni because when they choke, man, they choke bad. A lot of IMG players don't translate. Same with Mater Dei. They just don't. He started 12 games last year at right guard. He is the average starting lineman in the Big Ten. In the Power 4. He's just average. Okay, where's Jalen Gilchrist? Oh, Jalen Gilchrist is nice, bro. 4-star, looks great. Turned down Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Penn State, and South Carolina. I like Jalen Gilchrist. He's the backup left guard there, the true freshman. Watch his tape. He looks good. Let me go back to Alan Herron. Alan Herron will be the starting right tackle for this team. He started 12 games at right tackle last year. He's a former transfer from Shorter, Division II Shorter. And then you have Carlos Moore, who they brought in to try to add depth there. He had 10 starts at Elon last year. He's just cheap depth, an FCS transfer that's cheap depth. And when I say cheap, that's not a bad thing. It's just affordable. Keep you under the salary cap. Whatever your salary cap is your business. All in all, it looks like a pretty decent room. An 8 is a solid number for a team in the Power 4. Then we got Memphis. A lot of people are high on Memphis. Memphis is changing the caliber of recruit they get. I'm just going to tell you that you don't lose your all-time great quarterback, 2 amazing wide receivers, and you don't get better when you lose all that. You just don't. They'll be fine. They're trying to find answers, and let's see what they got. Right? Let's just see what they got. Offensive line, Chris Adams, first team in the American preseason. Chris Adams is very good. Some people will tell you he's the best offensive lineman in the group of 5. I don't agree, but he's a very good left tackle. I'm sure he'll get drafted, and people are going to think very highly of him. He's 6'5". He looks a little skinny for me. Not quite as heavy as I would expect a left tackle to be, but he's very good. Very, very good. He was an ODU transfer before he was an ODU starter before when he transferred to Memphis. So he didn't even start at Memphis. Shout out to the Memphis homers that are attacking me because I didn't give Chris Adams enough credit. You know, EAD, bro. You know what it stands for? Eat a dick. Travis Burke. Where's Travis Burke? Oh, Travis Burke is his backup, 4th team preseason All-American. See, that's where things kind of confuse me. So with Travis Burke, he's preseason in the American. So he's an all-conference guy, 4th team. Does that mean Travis Burke is now the starting right tackle? Because if he is, then we got a little something. It makes more sense. Travis Burke should be starting, number 78, left tackle over here. He should be starting at right tackle. He's huge. He's 6'9", 315. And if he's starting, this number goes up to 6.75. But right now, they have Parker Mitchell in this starting line, and I think that's wrong. If Parker Mitchell beat out Travis Burke, it's news to me. Just so we know. Austin Gentle, left guard over here, transfer from Harvard, first team All-Ivy League. I already told you about Ivy League. That doesn't mean anything to me. Been all-conference 3 years in a row. 30 starts at Harvard. He is a McCallie product. So if you don't know Tennessee, McCallie, good program, and you go out there and you bring a kid back to Memphis. It's pretty good stuff. Ethan Newman, he's slated to be the backup over there. Ethan Newman, Kennesaw State transfer, 3 stars, played in 16 games. Solid depth, not bad to get. Yakari Walker. Yakari Walker, what up, Colorado fans? Where you at, bro? When I told you your transfers ain't shit. I told you, Colorado, your offensive line, you found an answer. You went out and got a guy from Colorado, a guy from New Mexico, a guy from UTEP. No, UConn, New Mexico, and UTEP. And you all kept trying to tell me this is the best guy. This is, we fix our offensive line. And I said, no. You didn't even get the best players from those teams. Like, Yeah, it was an Indiana transfer, some shit like that. I was like, what are you doing? These aren't even real players. And sure enough, Yakari Walker transferred to Colorado and never started. He played in one game. He didn't start anything. Oh, Rico, he's amazing. He's going to play. Nah. Shout out to DeSoto. He's a DeSoto product. Former UConn starting center. Who's good at UConn. Who's fine. He's not Power 4 caliber. Is he good at Memphis? Hopefully. Another year. Got better. I hope he's good enough. I hope. I like Jacob Norcross, another Kennesaw State transfer. Bishop Gorman product. Played at a big school. He was on the all-freshman team. Probably starts 3 years in a row after Walker leaves. But Yakari Walker couldn't play at Colorado. And none of those guys that you were all excited about, none of them panned out at Colorado. Just keeping it real. Malachi Breland. I'm looking at Breland, and I got 6'5", 340. Huge on tape, 7 starts last year. Huge. Fucking house. And then Parker Mitchell. A Richmond transfer, 23 starts at the FCS level, and I wrote in parentheses, if you ask me, he's great depth. He's 6'3", 270, not quite big enough to be everywhere. I said, if you ask me, Parker Mitchell is great depth. I think the website's wrong, and I'm right in my evaluation of the players. I think Travis Burke is the starting right tackle, and Parker Mitchell won't be in the starting lineup. Quote me. Quote me. Miami up in this joint. What up, Miami? Bienvenido a Miami. Let's go. Looking at Miami, you guys know the deal. 9.5, very elite score. People think it's not high enough. Whatever. Markel Bell, 4-star, one JUCO guy back in 2023. He's 6'9". He's from Holmes Community College. I don't even know where that is, and I fucking do this for a living. 5 starts last year, not a slam dunk. Good player. 5 starts last year, not a slam dunk. Another year under his belt, it's fine. He's just not those all-conference guys you're looking for. But we'll see how he plays. Ryan Rodriguez started 1 game last season, and then he missed the entire season due to injury. This is a former 4-star. It's cool. James Brockermeyer, I don't know how much of a slam dunk he is. He's on the preseason All-ACC 3rd team. But I know James Brockermeyer, and I think he had a twin brother at one point, both playing football at Alabama. Couldn't get on the field at Alabama. Transferred back to Texas, where they're from. I think it was following his dad's footsteps, going to TCU. And then he finally started last year, and he finally played. Honorable mention Big 12. That's not a slam dunk if I ever seen one. That's just okay. That's okay. I'm not too excited about the first 3 for sure. And then you have Inez Cooper on the right guard side. Inez Cooper's 3rd team all-conference. Back-to-back honorable mention. This is a 2-year starter now, right? He's known goods. He's good. Inez Cooper's good, no doubt about it. I would give him alone like a 10 rating at the right guard spot. Then right tackle, Francis Mauigoa. I don't even know if I ever say that name right. I've been saying it like that for 3 years. Francis, his brother, what's his brother's name? Francisco? Yeah, middle linebacker just got drafted. Either way, Francis, former 5-star, amazing player, NFL draft pick type deal. 2nd team all-conference last season. He is a first-teamer all this year. They have a great side to the right. The left is experienced, but the right is elite. The right is NFL caliber. The left, it is what it is. Shout out to them. Carson Beck's got a line in front of him. They're going to do some work. You see the score. They're going to do some work. Miami of Ohio. They've been known to be very dominant, Miami of Ohio, for the last couple years now. One of their stud offensive linemen just left for Texas Tech. That's a whole other issue. They've been known to be studs for a while. Here's what I want to say about Miami of Ohio. They have a head coach. His name is Chuck Martin. If Chuck Martin can win games at Miami of Ohio this year, he should be like coach of the year. He should get so much credit. I don't see how they can do it. I don't know how they're going to be competitive. Now, don't get me wrong. They're going to be competitive. DeQuan Finn is elite in the MAC. He's elite in the MAC. He really is. And they got some players. I was watching tape. There's a kid, and I didn't even talk about this on the wide receiver podcast because I'm watching for offensive linemen. And as I'm watching the offensive lineman, I come across Cole Weaver. He's over here. Cole Weaver. Very good, well-spoken young man. I think he's like 6'4", 220 or something like that. Cole Weaver's a huge guy. And I think he's from Georgia. Fucking beast of a player, bro. Beast of a player. I'm just letting you know. He's not even in the starting lineup. They got him behind Cordell Russell. We're doing that shit again, Colorado fans? Start talking about baby T.O.? Nah. Cole Weaver. I like that kid. Anyways, back to the starters here. Drew Terrell. Drew Terrell, check this out. It's not even about him. I wrote, and I'm not even joking, I wrote 8 to 9 guys are fighting for starting positions on this offensive line. 8 to 9. If they can figure out who they got, they'll be good. But I think they're going to be going through the situation where it's like, who are these guys? Because Drew Terrell played in 9 games, didn't start any last year. He's only 6'6", 280. It's not good for a tackle, by the way. Greg Smith Jr., 1 start last season, newcomer of the year by his teammates. Okay, cool. Chris Manu played in 3 games last year, 0 starts. Austin Uke, Austin Uke. How do I say it, bro? Austin, he's a Stanford transfer, former 4-star. And then Peyton Kirkland, former Colorado guy, former Texas transfer, 6'7", 325, 4 years of eligibility. Remember everybody told you he's going to be the starter? Dude didn't do shit. Okay. But he came in here and started right away. It's the MAC, bro. Come to the MAC. Dominate. I don't know how they're going to do this. I give them a 3. It just doesn't feel like anybody's ever played football. No continuity. And then when I look at the talent, it's like, well, they couldn't start here. They couldn't start there. It's a lot of recruiting stars. If Chuck Martin can do anything with these guys, fucking give Chuck Martin a raise. Give Chucky a raise. Shout out to him. Michigan Wolverines, bro. Michigan Wolverines. Shout out to the Michigan Wolverines. They got an 8.5 score. People are mad about the score. It's a very good score. That's above average. That's better than good. It's on your way to elite, and nobody's proven out here. I gave them an 8.5, but I don't think offensive line is a strength for them this season. Their head coach, Sharon Moore, is an offensive line coach, so I'm giving them credit. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I literally wrote this in all caps, so I make sure I say it to you guys. I put it in bold. I'm giving them an 8.5, but I don't think offensive line is the strength of this team for this season. It's what I wrote. I'm not joking. Evan Link, 6'6", 330. Huge kid. 11 starts at right tackle last year. Was player of the week a few times. Now he's moving over to left tackle. That's the progression. That's how it works. Shout out to them. Give me a second here. Next, you got, who's the next guy? Oh, Giovanni. Giovanni, 3rd team, all Big Ten in the preseason, 6'5", 310, honorable mention last year, 16 starts. I wrote grown man. Giovanni's a grown man on tape. I do want to talk about Brady Norton for a second there. That's a Cal Poly transfer. He's from Mission Viejo. We like Mission Viejo. We're cool with it. He was a FCS freshman All-American, allowed 0 sacks last year and 11 starts. Just depth, just cheap depth to get a guy out here. Shout out to Michigan for doing it. Shout out to Brady Norton for taking the chance. And it's been one of these things where Michigan offensive linemen have all been coming from Northern California. Yep, they got a pipeline. I'm telling you, they've had a pipeline for a couple years now. I remember they got Drake Nugent a couple years ago, Miles Hinton a couple years ago. Obviously, Mason Graham coming from Servite, that's Southern California. But they got a pipeline from California over to Michigan. And Brady Norton continues that, so shout out to him. Then at center, they have Greg Crippen. Greg Crippen at center, IMG product, 8 starts, 27 games played. He started 8 games last year as former 4-star guy. Sounds like a future stud, and he's going to be there for a little while. Nathan Ifobi, first year starting. South Forsyth, what up, Georgia? South Forsyth product, a 3-star, comes across as a high-character guy, not a slam-dunk Power 4 starter. I'm watching his tape, and I say that's not a slam-dunk Power 4 starter. You can see they brought in Lawrence Hatter to challenge him. Lawrence Hatter, the transfer, came in late, doesn't even have a jersey number on here. Lawrence Hatter's a transfer from Ferris State, Division II, All-American, 6'5", 330. I think they wanted Josh Thompson. And I think Josh Thompson is going to regret this. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about, Josh Thompson, the Northwestern LSU transfer, right? So he went from Northwestern to LSU, multi-year starter at Northwestern, goes to LSU, and now Josh Thompson's losing out that starting battle. He could have just came over here, and he could have been the starter. And instead, he's not. And that sucks for Josh Thompson. That sucks for Michigan. But their second answer was Lawrence Hatter. That's how I feel about that. Andrew Sprague, right tackle, 14 preseason, 6'8", 305, moves well on tape. Former 4-star from Missouri. I like him. So they got a lot of talented guys. Just young, underdeveloped. It'll be a little while. You see, look at this. Freshman, sophomore, right? Those 3 guys, if they can stick around, in about 2 years, this offensive line number will be a 10. In about 2 years, this offensive line number will be a 10. But you can't give them a 10 right now. They're not there yet. Other teams have the singers. Other teams have the more developed players. They're not bad. 8.5 is not bad at all. So there you go. Michigan State, Michigan State. Just so you know, if you're keeping track, Michigan State has bridged the gap between Michigan. And it's just this year on offense. I haven't even done defense yet. And people are going to be all upset about it. Go green, go white, all this stuff. But the reality is, if you look up here, you see these numbers right here? You see a 6 and a 6. They're even. Running back room, Michigan is much better. Wide receiver room, Michigan State, slightly better. Tight end, slightly better. Offensive line group, Michigan's better. And the percentages are weighted differently. I need you to know this. Every score has a different weight to it, so it impacts the percentage differently. That's because you can have a really good tight end score. That's not the equivalent of having a really good offensive line score. The offensive line score is weighted far more than a tight end score, right? So just so you understand. But Michigan State, they're bridging this gap a little bit. They're not that far behind. 6%. It's not that bad. All right, let's talk about Michigan State. Offensive line. Stan Ramil, 6'7", 312. 8 starts at left tackle. Started the last 7 games of the season at left tackle. Under Armour All-American. I think he's a future star. So finally getting the starts in as a redshirt freshman. I think Stanton Ramil is the real deal. Like him a lot. Christian Phillips, starting left guard. Started the season opener in 2024, then got injured, and he couldn't play anymore. He missed the rest of the year. This is one of the top offensive linemen from Georgia. I feel like he's the answer at left guard. I watch a lot of Georgia high school football. Christian Phillips is great. So Stan Ramil, Christian, they got that left side figured out. Shout out to them. They have the left side of the line figured out. Matt Golbin is a Wake Forest transfer. He's the starting center here. His 1 season of eligibility. He moved to center when he transferred to Michigan State. He was a guard at Wake Forest. Remember, the Wake Forest starting center is at Florida State. So this was a starting guard at Wake Forest. He leaves, and he becomes the starting center over here. Just a senior guy. I think he's winning the center competition. He's a multi-year guy. He grades out well. I think he's winning the center competition. He's going to get that. Luka Vinick. Luka. I'm just going to say Luka. He changed his number to 70. Is he 60 or 70? I don't know. I'm watching tape. I wrote he changed his number to 70. You got to be careful with that. But Luka's an Oregon State transfer. He followed the staff over here from Washington. From Oregon State. The hell is wrong? Oh, no, he's from Washington High School. He started some games at center for Oregon State last year. Thought he was depth, but it appears he's beating out Caleb Carter. So that's what's crazy is he came to sign, and I thought he was going to be a backup. And they tell me he's beating out Caleb Carter. Caleb Carter is a Western Carolina transfer with 18 starts, and he can play anywhere. He's great depth, Caleb Carter. Cheap depth. He can play anywhere. It's a good problem to have. He can challenge anybody for a starting position. He'll be fine. And then Connor Moore, third team all-conference, probably the best offensive lineman on the team that's proven. This is an FCS transfer from Montana State. NFL caliber. FCS All-American, 28 consecutive starts at Montana State. I think Connor Moore's good. It's a good offensive line, bro. Good offensive line. A little more developed, like older than Michigan's offensive line, but not as talented. Middle Tennessee. Man, you can't do Nick V no favors, bro. Can't do Nick V no favors. MTSU, where are you at? We're an hour and a half in. We got 30 minutes left on this episode, and then we'll start another one. We're going to keep them all 2 hours. Middle Tennessee here. We're looking at a 3.5 score. What you need to know about Middle Tennessee. Zach Clayton up here. He's young. He's a sophomore. I'm going to keep an eye on him. He's a Georgia kid. East Coweta. Shout out to them. 7A school. They wear purple. I wrote to this kid on Twitter. He follows me now. He's a PFF freshman All-American. 10 starts as a freshman. I think he's good. And I think Middle Tennessee's got to be ecstatic to find a freshman that can start at left tackle. It's pretty awesome. Ellis Adams is a graduate transfer. He's a transfer from a while back, but this is a Hoover product, okay? This guy played his ball at Hoover, Alabama. Second team USA preseason. He's all-conference second team. He's good. 9 starts last year. Former Tennessee Tech transfer. Never allowed a sack in high school. 6'4", 380 pounds. Let me say that again. 6'4", 380. Shout out to Ellis Adams. Just a big, fat chunk of meat at the left guard spot. Ikani is the center. Ikani is a former JUCO guy. Last chance U, Snow College. Went to Nebraska Kearney, had 5 starts last season. I'm not sure why he's FBS caliber. I'm not sure. They signed 2 other centers. They're all trying to figure it out. And apparently Iconi's winning the battle. They were, obviously, when you see 3 transfers at one position group like that, they're trying to address it. But I went and watched it. Aaron Alexander, I wrote Delta State transfer. Delta State transfer, not a good school. Austin P. couldn't play at either school. Not sure what he's doing here. Quentin Butler, a JUCO transfer. I'm intrigued by Quentin Butler. That's what I wrote. Intrigued. E.J. Harris, he's following offensive line coach Kendall Simmons. E.J. Harris is an Auburn transfer. He's coming over here. Shout out to E.J. Could be he came from he's a local kid who ended up staying and went to Auburn, but he probably didn't belong at Auburn. He's not SEC caliber. So seeing him here, seeing him get slated to start, not surprised. Good for him. Then we have Jacob Otts, the starting right tackle, graduate transfer. Jacob Otts got 10 starts last year at Rhode Island. They're an FCS playoff team, so he played some good football. And Diego Blatter is a San Diego kid, JUCO transfer, not sure what they're doing. Like, they're just trying to find answers, man. They're trying their best. Doesn't look good. 3.5 is what I gave them. Shout out to Minnesota coming up next. What up, Minnie? Minnesota's a good team, man. You see the score, 73.5 or 73.3. It's just right around where they need to be. We'll see how they end up with the win-loss totals when we look at their schedule and stuff. Remember, I do all the rankings first, and then I go look at win-loss totals. But when I'm looking at these guys, and they got a 7.75, it's not bad, man. It's really not. They did lose some pieces. One guy left to Ohio State to sit the bench, stuff like that. But it is what it is. I wrote they lost 3 multi-year starters with over 100 combined starts. We're talking about Tyler Cooper. He's an undrafted free agent. Quinn Carroll graduated. Jackson Hunter graduated. And Arante Arase went to the NFL draft. That's crazy, bro. Philip Daniels left to Ohio State. Martez Lewis transferred to Northwestern. This offensive line room has been gutted. Okay? They are a very good zone blocking team. Remember I gave you that lecture in last episode about zone blocking versus gap blocking. They just move as a unit, and then it's up to Darius to figure out where he wants to go. Shout out to Darius Taylor, one of the best running backs in America. He still hasn't had 1,000 yards rushing. He needs to prove it, but I believe in him talent-wise. All right, so at left tackle, Kali Tafi. 6'5", 340. He's a transfer from Washington. He was in the rotation and started a few games for Washington as a redshirt freshman. It's a great young, talented player to get. Shout out to them. Greg Johnson is 6'6", 325. Started all games last season at center. Started 2 games as a freshman. I believe Greg Johnson is NFL caliber, and he's moving to guard to get an NFL look. That's what I think that's about, okay? Ashton Beers is the center. He's 4th team All Big Ten in the preseason. He had 9 starts, moved to center, and I'm not sure why he's all conference. He's not a bad player, but I'm not sure what the preseason hype is all about, is what I wrote. Shout out to Ashton Beers. Marcellus Marshall started his career at Kent State, transferred from UCF, got beat several times on film, allowed 3 sacks at guard. Not good, but he's a West Virginia kid, and he's tough. He's a road grader, and you need road graders in the Big Ten in the winter months for a run blocking scheme. He fits what they need, but he can get beat on pass plays. I don't think they're going to drop back to pass much. So he goes and gets it. He's not good at catching. He's a pitcher, not a catcher. I don't know. He's a top, not a bottom. I don't know how that works. Dylan Ray at right tackle. Dylan Ray, Kentucky transfer, and started his career as a walk-on at West Virginia. Started 2 games at Kentucky last year. In 2023, he started 10 games. These are grown transfers, is what I wrote. Grown transfers on the left side of the ball. I also wrote that Jaden Ball is a Purdue transfer, and he's a stud. I don't know where that's at. Maybe I'm looking at a different position group. And Nathan Roy is a hidden gem, could start. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I did it. Nathan Roy, hidden gem, could start. And there's a guy not listed here, and that was Ball, Jaden Ball from Purdue. Awesome stuff. So, yeah, I went and looked at everybody's tape. I like Nathan Roy a lot, by the way. So, I gave him 7.75. Mississippi State. Well, good for them. Good news for Mississippi State. They got back to average when it comes to offensive line. Remember, they've been pretty bad for a little bit. Can I not see teams, bro? Mississippi State Bulldogs. 2-10 last year. 0-8 in conference play. Not good. Offensive line's just fine. You got a guy in Luke Work. Shout out to him. Oh, wait. Let me make a couple things straight. Lost 3 starters. Pounders is at Louisville. Ethan Miner, Marlon Martinez graduated. Okay? But they got Phil Lodeholt from Colorado, the offensive line coach, coming over. If you didn't know Phil, he had 6 years with Levy before that one break. They were at UCF, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma. Biggest issue is that they have some tackles that belong on the inside, and Luke Work is one of them. So Coach said something in one of the interviews Levy did. He said, we got enough depth, and they brought in a bunch of players to challenge them. You see this here. They brought in a bunch of transfers to try to identify who their starting five are going to be. This is a problem. And they said, we want to move some guys that are on the outside right now to the inside and vice versa. And I'm looking and I'm going, we got some work to do. So I wrote a bunch here. I'm going to try to decipher what I was saying. Bear with me. But I wrote, Luke Work is 6'6", 315 with 7 starts last season. I think he's a great find. Started the last 2 games at right tackle, and now he's moving to left tackle. I don't think they want him at tackle. I really don't. Javen James is a Maryland transfer. And if you look at Javen James, he's the backup there. He had 9 starts last season at Akron. I wrote Maryland transfer, but he started at Akron last year. Solid depth. Jacoby Jackson, 25 starts, 38 games played, transfer from Texas Tech. Started 11 games last season for Mississippi State, but his scores are terrible. Jacoby Jackson, the left guard, he's bad. Bad on tape. Trevor Mayberry, they brought him in as a graduate transfer, Stanford transfer, 26 starts in his career. He started in 9 games for Stanford in 2023, but decided to redshirt last season, didn't play any games, was a 2-year starter in the FCS at Penn. So most of his starts are at the Ivy League FCS level. His dad is Tony Mayberry, if you don't remember, former Pro Bowler and Wake Forest Hall of Fame. I think he should be in the starting lineup somehow, is what I wrote, Trevor Mayberry. We got to figure out how we get Trevor Mayberry in the starting lineup. That's what I wrote. Kobe Keenum, Kentucky transfer. Not much playing time, but Kentucky had Eli Cox, all-time great. So Kobe Keenum moving to center, not bad. It's just hard to get over a guy who's started 50 games, right? Brendan Smith is a UTEP transfer. Don't understand what he's doing here. He followed coach from FCS Austin Peay to UTEP. He had 31 starts and 10 starts at guard. He transferred to compete for the center spot because Keenum had never played, but Keenum's going to get that job because he looks SEC caliber. He looks the part. Then we have Albert Reese, best offensive lineman on the team and the best offensive lineman in the entire state of Mississippi. I wanted to make that clear. Best offensive lineman on the team and best offensive lineman in the entire state of Mississippi. I don't care if we're talking about Ole Miss, Southern Miss. I don't care what schools you're talking about. This is the best offensive lineman in the state of Mississippi, and his name is Albert Reese. I believe in Albert Reese. He is 6'7", 330 pounds. I believe he's Canadian, but he can play anywhere on the line. Move him around, and let's get it right. Blake Steen, Virginia transfer, starting at right tackle, 17 starts, young stud, and Virginia will miss him. Shout out to Blake Steen. He's going to be a 2-year starter. He moved to guard in 2024. Not surprised to see him beat out a prize recruit. And I'm talking about Jimothy Lewis. Jimothy Lewis is a freshman, redshirt freshman over there. He is a prize recruit, but it's hype. He's not really ready. They can bring in grown men like this and beat him out. So all in all, they got depth. They got pieces. I'm giving them a 7. They got to put it together. They got to gel together. It could be as high as 7.5, but they're fine. Not as good as like Missouri by any chance. Who's the next team we're going to talk about? Missouri! And I don't know what's going on in the position battles at every single team. I just know what I assess on the tape, and I make my assessments, and I live with the results. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But the assessment of players, I'm not wrong about. It's just I don't know if there's been talk behind scenes and people moving, if there's injuries. I don't know some of the stuff. I dig around before we make the futures bets or before we go and do stuff. I dig a little deeper and look at injury reports. I look at depth charts and projected all that kind of stuff. But that doesn't happen until another 3 weeks. So just so you're aware of what's happening right here. I feel like Missouri is recruiting from other rosters, not high schools. Reminds me of that guy. Let me give you guys an example here. You ever had a friend who only tries to date married women? Like, yo, bro, I was in the Army, and we had this guy named Nelson, and he only wanted to date married women. And I asked him why, and he was like, well, no commitment, bro. You ain't got to do all the small talk. They're about that life, man. You just text them and say, what's up? And then they'll hit you back when they're available, and they're ready to go. And he's lectured me about it, and I just thought, man, this is crazy. This is not. He go, I ain't got to respect her marriage. She don't respect her marriage. Why do I got to respect her marriage? I'm like, I don't think you need to respect her marriage. You're just aiming really low. Like, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to find somebody for yourself. He goes, no, I'm good. And the whole reason is he was married. He was married the whole time. He was a terrible person. Shout out to Nelson. It's crazy. I only know his last name. So Missouri's conducting themselves this way. They're only trying to date players that are on other rosters. I really feel that way. I don't know what that is. Is it tampering? I don't mean to wish that on anybody, but it just feels that way. So we got Johnny Williams the fourth first. He's coming in to be their left tackle. He's 6'7", 330. He's a West Virginia transfer. He had 2 starts at West Virginia last year. He's not an elite left tackle in the SEC, but he's transferring in and he's starting. More power to him. I don't know what any of that's about. And he's here. Caden Green is known goods. Caden Green is great. First team All-SEC in the preseason. NFL caliber for sure. Oklahoma still misses him. Missouri took him from Oklahoma. 18 starts. He's the real deal. Slam dunk at the left guard position. Connor Tolson. Tolson's a multi-year starter. Good stuff. Should be on all conference teams, but he's not. Preseason all conference teams. I think Connor Tolson's the bee's knees. I really do. So they got 2 slam dunks on the inside. I don't believe in the left tackle signing. I mean, I get it. He's good. But it's just weird. He's got the right size and metrics for the SEC. 6'7", 330, bro. You just put him at left tackle and make him play. Dominic Guidance here. Dominic Gaitis, Michigan transfer. Former Mater Dei product. Homies from Mater Dei. You ever wonder where all those Mater Dei linemen go? Other than Nevada? Yeah, they go over here. They're at Missouri now. Went to Michigan, Missouri. Cool stuff. I wrote 5 starts at Michigan, was a defensive lineman early in his career, and now he's grown. He's a quality starter, IMO, graduate and very grown. Reminds me of, and don't quote me, but he reminds me of Richie Incognito. Yes, they're white dudes, kind of those Italian names and stuff like that. Richie Incognito, the locker room bully, wasn't really a bully, so they say. And then we have Keegan Trost at right tackle. Keegan Trost, Wake Forest transfer, 6'4", 318, 26 starts, but not all at Wake Forest. He started his career at Morgan State, then Indiana State for 3 years, then he went to Wake Forest last year. I think he's a grown man, and I think he's competing with Jalen Early for that starting spot. Jalen Early is a Florida State transfer, 6 starts at Florida State. I figure Jalen Early's the starter. He is just an average Power 4 starter. So Jalen Early should win this job. If not, it's a good problem to have. You have depth. Either way, Missouri 8.5. And we get to Navy. Service academies, they're hard to read. We don't know what they're doing. We don't know what the service academies are doing. They won't let you know. So we can talk about the players all we want. Look at this shit. Look at this joint. Luke Molden is the starting left tackle and right tackle. Man, do better, bro. Do better. I'm talking to our lads right now. Do better on your website. I want to give a shout out to Navy. Their head coach, Brian Newberry, he managed to keep all 3 coordinators. So special teams, offense, and defense, they're all back. Quarterback's back. Running backs are back. Everybody expects these guys to be the bee's knees, maybe lose 1 game. And I feel you, bro. They lost 3 starters to graduation, 2 to injuries. Ben Purvis, the left guard there, second team preseason All-American. I say All-American, all-conference in the American. Starting guard, yeah, he's cool. Cam Nichols, he's good too. He's also second team preseason. Starting center is Hoke. He was a right guard last year. Now he's moving over there. That's cool. And that's about it. I don't know anything else because I don't know who's starting, who's what, and I'm not going to waste my time on it. Navy's good. The score can change. Navy's going to win games they're not supposed to because of how good they are. They got a really easy schedule. They're going to be 7-0 at one point, 8-0. Like, you can just trust me. Navy's going to win 7-8 games. They'll be undefeated going into their game. They should be undefeated going into their game with Notre Dame. NC State. I won't be wrong. NC State. North Carolina State. It's tough, man. They get a 7.75. If you guys don't know, North Carolina State, obviously, they just lost, who's the big guy? Who am I thinking of? Anthony Benton, right? Anthony Belton, the second round draft pick. Let me just start from the top. Jacarius Peak. Jacarius Peak is a second team All-ACC preseason pick. He's a Valdosta product, right? So he started every single game at right tackle last year. Now he's replacing Belton, who's an enormous man. And I'm surprised to see Jacarius Peak not leave and go get more pay somewhere. But I understand. if the guy that started that position was just a second-round pick, you stay at that school and you become a second-round pick, right? I get it. I will tell you that Dave Doran, it just gets the least out of his players. I missed on this. I had North Carolina State winning 9 games last year. 8 to 9 games last year. They won 6. I was wrong. Just terrible. Terrible coaching job on everywhere. Anthony Carter Jr., third team all-conference in the preseason, most experienced offensive lineman on the team. Grades out well. The left side of this line should be legit. Don't get it twisted. Should be legit. Jalen Grant. He's a MAC transfer, multi-year starter at Bowling Green. Went to Purdue, started in 2023, then in 2024 was benched and didn't start anymore. So he's a multi-year starter at Bowling Green, transfers to Purdue, plays, and then he doesn't play last year. Redshirt after 4 years. After 4 games. When I see a guy redshirt after 4 games, I say you're a quitter. You're a quitter. And I know you're saving your eligibility and all this stuff, but you can just sit on the bench and wait till the coaches try to use you. But if you quit after 4 games and jump in the portal, you quit on your team. That's real. You quit on your team. So I'm glad they got him. Shout out to Jalen Grant. And that's the type of player NC State signs. NC State's one of those teams. They sign players that I'm just kind of like, oh, who the fuck they sign? Yep. Shout out to Stukes, by the way. I skipped him. Brock Stukes, the backup left guard. He's from North Carolina A&T. He's just added depth. No big deal there. Val Erickson, 2 starts last season, a Missouri transfer, average power 4 guy. No problem. And then at right tackle, they have Teague Anderson. He's a Utah State transfer, multi-year starter. I like his tape. Teague Anderson. Nebraska, they got a 9, bro. Nebraska's got an offensive line. Nebraska will not be getting manhandled up front. Their offensive line's legit. Shout out to them. They went out and found Elijah Pritchett. Shout out to Carver Columbus. I believe he's from Carver Columbus. He is a Georgia product. 6'6", 325. The bee's knees. Alabama transfer, 11 starts with Alabama. Was the starting right tackle all season. While he's not an all-conference preseason, I think he's legit. So they didn't make him all-conference preseason, Big Ten, anything. He's good, bro. Elijah Pritchett and he's a good signing. And to move from right tackle to left tackle is prestigious. He was not going to move from right tackle to left tackle if he stayed at Alabama, obviously. Right? So you go to a program that needs you to be the left tackle, and you go become the marquee guy, which is good stuff. Henry is 4th team All Big Ten in the preseason. That's cool. He's a returning starter. Justin Evans is 2nd team All Preseason, Jersey kid. He's been starting since he was a freshman. So he's a returning starter. And then Rocco Spindler he's a Notre Dame transfer. He's already 3rd team All Big Ten in the preseason because people know the guy can play. This is a guy who had 23 starts at Notre Dame, complete stud in the portal. And then you have Tyler Kanak over there. Tyler Kanak is a young stud. He's a Utah kid. He was injured a bit last year, and he is the only question mark on this entire offensive line. Everybody else, you have 2 multi-year starters, 2 stud transfers, and then Tyler Kanak, the only guy you got to worry about. Once again, it's right tackle. It's not a big issue. Get a 9 and move on. Nevada. Keep it going, my friend. We're looking at Nevada. They get a 4. Jack Frost. Is that his name, Jack Frost? Or Jake? Oh, it's Jake. My bad, bro. Jake Foster. Shout out to him. First thing I want to say is Brian Armstrong is the offensive line coach. Brian Armstrong is the offensive line coach for Jeff Schote. Brian Armstrong was at Fresno State, I think, last year. Before that, he was at Montana State from 2016 to 2022. So him and Jeff Schote linking back up. If you didn't know, Schote's the former Montana State head coach. Montana State get on the national scene as an FCS power because of this coaching staff. They're getting them all back together, and they're going to need time to develop these players. We'll see what happens. So Jake Foster, 6'7", 300 pounds, transfer from Idaho, 14 starts. They know the FCS. They know the Big Sky. They go out and get a transfer from the Big Sky. Shout out to them. I'm surprised to see him at Nevada. I thought he would have gone to New Mexico with Coach Ack. So his head coach just got hired in New Mexico. So it's a good get for Nevada, 100%. Shout out to them. Diaby, Tennessee State transfer. Started 13 games last season, helped them win a conference championship. Shout out to Eddie George and the boys. He went out there and did it. That is a Grayson product. Shout out to Georgia again. Great. Hey, Georgia linemen are everywhere. Georgia high school linemen, everywhere. They can start at every FBS team in America. Madrigal, he's a Norco product. What up? If you guys don't know Norco, California, I want you to think of Norco, California as like just them corn-fed white boys, all white school, just out there, hillbillies just beating you up, bro. That's what it is. When we played against Norco, we knew what we were up against. We were up against I remember we had this team. I'm not even joking. We had these kids, Jamin and Jamal Williams. We had this team of all-time great speed demons. Chadwick Davis. These guys were amazing. Youth football, 13 years old. We had 3 guys faster than anybody you've ever seen in your life. I'm telling you, they were 4.3 40 kids. I think they all set school records in the 100 meters at their respective schools. And these were the fastest players we could find in the city. And we put them all on the same team, and we were winning every game. We had one game where we lost because the refs just kept calling back every single play we were scoring touchdowns on. Very undisciplined team, by the way. It was our first year coaching. We had an all-star team. We knew we were going to win everything. And we went to Norco. And Norco had a guy. I can't remember his name. But they had just a raw-ass white dude, a linebacker. And all he had to do, just in one play, just hit one of our dudes. Snot bubbles everywhere. That linebacker was amazing. Toby Gerhart is from Norco. Okay? Norco is these monster white boys who are going to smash you, bro. Just letting you know. And Andrew Madrigal is from Norco. We got hit in the mouth. We lost the playoff game. And then we went on to win 2 championships in a row and never lost again. But that was crazy that one year. Our speed demons got hit in the mouth. It was crazy. All because of Norco, man. Awesome stuff. 3-year starter, all conference caliber. Andrew Madrigal at center. Good center to have. Shout out to him. Josh Garbowski, a JUCO transfer. He's an older guy. 7 starts last year. Was also the extra tight end on certain plays. You know, I'm looking for numbers, bro. I'm looking for numbers. And I'm like, man, that guy lined up at tackle? This guard's at tackle? No, he's in the jumbo package at tight end. I had to go back and count the linemen. I had to see where the ball was spotted. I'm like, oh, shit. So, yeah, sometimes during those jumbo packages at the goal line, shout out to Garbowski. He's Garbowski. And then John Bowles at right tackle. I wrote Bowles is the least notable JUCO guy, another one of those tight ends on the goal line. So, whatever they're doing it. Shout out to them. Let's hope Shoke can make something out of Nevada. It's tough, man. You got to look at that schedule and just be like, who the hell are they beating? Especially with a percentage like this, 28.75. That's going to be a tough sell. You might be able to beat some of the teams in the 30s, but you're not beating any teams in the 40s. You're not going to be able to keep up with them. The 40 percentage guys, they're much better. And obviously I'm comparing offensive percentages to defensive percentages, but the discrepancy will be really big for the other team for sure when it's time for them to compare their defense to your offense. It's going to be tough. Look at that. 28 for Nevada, 37 for New Mexico. You let me know what's up with that, right? New Mexico's got a lot brighter future in their room, and the coaching's kind of equivalent in that regard. We already know they're both Big Sky coaches that have been moving their way up. So the Lobos. Let's go talk about these Lobos. They got an amazing running back room. Running back room's going to make them look good. They have a new offensive line coach. His name is Cody Booth. What up, Cody? Shout out to Jason Eck coming over from Idaho. They have Tevin Shaw. He's a Houston transfer, a Manville product. He's a day 1 starter last season. He missed the whole year due to injury after the Arizona game, though. So he started last year, got injured, and then he missed the whole rest of the season. That sucks. Travis Gray. Travis Gray's the backup. That's good depth to have at backup. That's a Colorado transfer. If you don't remember Travis Gray, he was at Colorado, and he left. So not bad left tackle combo over there for New Mexico for sure. At left guard, they've got my boy Mook, Israel Mukwiza. He goes by Mook. Shout out to him. He's an Archer high school product here in Georgia. Archer. You guys ever seen that video on TikTok where there's a big, tall, 6'8" quarterback and they're going up against a blue team? That's Archer, by the way. Yeah, so shout out to Archer. He's from there. I want to talk about Neville. Is Neville there? Yeah, Neville Brown is. Oh, by the way, Mook. Alabama A&M transferred to Mercer, all conference in 2023. 2024 had a breakout. Looks short on tape. That's what I wrote. He looks short on tape. Neville Brown, Alabama A&M as well. He was Mook's teammate for 2 years at Alabama A&M. Neville Brown's just a depth guy. He's coming over here to back up one of his friends. I bet they're roommates. Neville Brown and Mook. Somebody let me know if you guys are roommates or not. I'm just guessing, bro. I'm just guessing. Used to play together for a couple years over there at A&M. I bet they're in New Mexico. Like, what the fuck are we doing out here, bro? This hot sauce is too much. This sauce is too much, bro. We can't handle these tacos. Don't be eating that fourth meal, bro. Don't be doing it. Don't hit up no food trucks. You guys ever go eat spicy food with your girl? I go eat spicy food with Kim. She can't touch any of the salsa I'm eating, bro. None of it. I don't mess with vinegar-based hot sauce. That's trash, right? Texas Pete, Tabasco. I don't mess with none of that stuff. Salsa, homemade salsa, peppers. We're doing some real shit, right? So Kim will mess around and be like, "Oh, well, let me get a taste of that." She'll put her pinky in it and go like this, and she's done, bro. She's struggling. I know these dudes are struggling. Alabama A&M, dude, they can't be out here. They ain't messing with us, bro. Anyways, shout out to them. Isaiah Silman is the starting center. He's a Lancaster High School product out of Dallas. Shout out to them. Started 4 games last year. He was a tight end all year. Then he moved to center. Something's going on here because he's big as hell. He's 6'1", 310, and he can't be the tight end. I don't know what's going on. Coach is just moving shit around. Really confusing me when I'm watching tape. Richard Pierce, ECU transfer, East Carolina, in 2024. Was a team captain last year. Started 12 games at right guard for New Mexico. Richard Pierce, the best offensive lineman on this team. Shout out to him. Caden Robnett, this young kid, came over from Idaho, followed the coaching staff. That's cool. He'll be a future starting right guard after Richard Pierce is gone. RJ Adams moved to defensive tackle. RJ Adams is not the right tackle. RJ Adams moved to defensive tackle. This is silly. He's a big guy, RJ Adams. I want to say he's like 6'3", 350. He's huge. But they moved him out of that right tackle spot. He can't play. I think he's a former 4-star. RJ Adams played at Georgia Tech, I'm sure. Kentucky, Georgia Tech, North Carolina A&T, New Mexico. Quite the run. Tyler Lawrence. Tyler Lawrence is probably going to be the starter at right tackle. He's an Air Force transfer. He did start 3 games last year. Ended up losing his job at Air Force, but he transfers in from Air Force. That's an FBS caliber starter. So you can start at right tackle. That's not a bad thing to have. 3.75, good score. Could be a little better. New Mexico State. Ugh. New Mexico State. I'm not joking when I tell you guys, bro. Give up drinking. Don't give up the car. Give up drinking. Don't give up the car. Okay? Shout out to Tony Sanchez being one of the worst coaches in America for multiple years now. It is what it is. They fired offensive coordinator Tyler Wright last year, mid-season, because of derogatory posts that he made on Twitter. In case you didn't know. They fired him, okay? They lost their offensive line coach to Oklahoma State, and they lost their starting left tackle to Kentucky. The 3 other starters, and 3 other starters, they lost to the transfer portal or graduation or something. The new offensive line coach is John Canova. He's from EIU, and the only reason I know Eastern Illinois outside of Tony Romo is because I went and watched tape on MJ Flowers, and MJ Flowers is him. And he's like a 3rd-string running back at UConn right now. So it is what it is. So let's talk about Lee. Lee is the starting left tackle. North Texas transfer. Was a JUCO transfer, but he was at Missouri for 2 years. Couldn't play at Missouri. Went to JUCO. Bounced back to North Texas. He started the first 3 games for North Texas, but he only played in 4 games. I don't know if he saved a red shirt or he just quit on the team. What it was, fell out of favor. It is what it is. Big guy. 6'7", 315. It feels like he was in the doghouse for Eric Morrison's staff at North Texas. And this is pretty on par for New Mexico State to sign players in the doghouse at their previous school, to sign players at Last Chance U. Like, this is what they do. So shout out to them. Lee could be special for them. 6'7", 315. They're road graders. They had a running back scheme last year, 2-back set, and now you got Kadarius Callaway coming in, another guy who I thought should never be at Cal last year. I talked very, very harshly about it, and nobody listened to me. Rico, he used to be an Alabama running back. He rushed for 900 yards. He can't play in the Power 4. And here he is back in New Mexico State. Hopefully Callaway has a good season. Hopefully we can bet on his props. Shout out to Prize Picks and everybody else. Holinsky here. J.R. Heklinski. His profile pic is tough to look at, is what I said. I don't know what they have linked for his profile pic. Let's see. They have nothing. Can we go to his bio? Let's go look at it. Oh, man. J.R. Holinsky. Wow. What up, homie? That dude looks great. All right, so listen to me. Here's what I saw on tape for J.R. Holinsky. First and foremost, they're telling me he's in the starting lineup as a true freshman. He's 6'2", 280. I went and watched his huddle tape, and there's a kid named Brennan Williams right now. Brennan Williams is a Texas kid, and I've been pushing Brennan Williams on Twitter, on coaches, and trying to get him offers. And Brennan Williams has a couple offers. They're NAIA offers. So Division III, NAIA, about equivalent. That's all they're looking at right now. He hasn't got a single Division II offer yet. Brennan Williams is better than this kid. I watched J.R. Helinski's huddle tape, and I thought, that's not an FBS player. And he's in your starting lineup. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he's kicking ass and taking names in practice. He got there early, showed up in the spring, whatever it is. Shit's blowing my mind, bro. Blowing my mind. That's not a good player. Not ready. I shouldn't say he's not a good player. Let me rephrase. He's not ready to be a starting FBS caliber player. No. Kai Willer, starting center. He's a Corner Canyon product out of Utah. I can't see how he's not better than Helinski. Helinski, I think he should be over here. I don't know. I'm thrown off by the whole thing. They have AJ. Where did AJ go? Is AJ gone? Wow. AJ Vaiapulu should be the start. Should get the start at center. Don't even see AJ on here. BJ Tolo, right guard. He's a modern day product. Modern day product. 4-team all-conference. Best homegrown offensive lineman on the roster. BJ Tolo, good player. I like him. It's the best you're going to get around here. Raparti's backing up. He's a JUCO kid. FBS bounce back. Was at UTSA in 2023. He's a Kilgore guy. Okay, cool. And then we have a Buffalo, Florida A&M transfer in Janik. Bro, we got to move this. You just lost another guy. We can't do this. This is crazy, bro. It's crazy. North Carolina, give him a 9. North Carolina has a problem. North Carolina has too many people. Good thing to have. It's just a problem. The reason it's a problem is you don't know who the starters are. So you see all this transfers. Look at this. Singer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 6, 7. 7 Singer transfer offensive linemen just transferred in to North Carolina. Well, I want to know what the sales pitch was. What did they tell them? How did you get all 7 to show up together and be like, yo, this is my last year of football and I don't want to play? Because somebody's not playing. 7, somebody's not starting. And there's already other people there. It's not like there's 7 singers here, but there's already graduate transfers that are already here. It's fucking wild to me, bro. Good problem to have. They got a lot of good players, a lot of good depth. People can get hurt. They won't miss a beat. I'll give you that. If they get hurt, no one's missing a beat. So let's start at the top. Will Osteen, 37 starts in his career. One of the most experienced transfers available, 2,700 snaps. But he's a former 2-star guy that was at Jacksonville State. I had him pegged going to West Virginia with Rich Rodriguez. He was first team all-conference in Conference USA last season. He plays penalty-free. Very fundamentally sound. Does nothing wrong. Will Osteen. Now, is he a slam dunk to start? Apparently. He started. It's nuts to me. News to me. Miles McVay is an Alabama transfer. He's a future starter. He's a former 4-star. He's only a sophomore, so he's just depth, going to learn from an older guy, so he's behind him. I don't think he should be starting at all. Right? Aiden Banfield. Shout out to Aiden Banfield, true sophomore. Mill Creek's finest. Started 11 games last season as a freshman. I believe he's a 3-star NFL draft pick someday. I believe he's an NFL draft pick. Chad Lindenberg is the backup behind him. That's a Rice transfer. Started 11 games last year. Good experience backup. Good depth as a backup. Austin Blasky, a Georgia transfer. Backed up a pro at Georgia. Started every game last season for North Carolina. So you got 2 guys that are not giving up their starting positions in Banfield and Blasky. You brought in 7 transfers. They're fighting for 3 spots because they're not starting over those 2 guys. Then your right guard is Daniel King. Daniel King's the right guard. 3rd team all ACC in the preseason. He's a back-to-back all-conference player out of Troy, former team captain, and was at the Georgia Military Academy, which is a JUCO, before Troy. He's known goods. Daniel King's the real deal. They still brought in Ja'Kai Moore to back him up. Ja'Kai Moore is a South Carolina transfer, 2019 recruit, 28 starts. Was supposed to be a starter last year, but he had shoulder surgery in September, and he never quite got there. I think Ja'Kai Moore is a great backup option, like a good piece for sure. This is why I got to give them a 9. They got players that can start. Like, you can have the entire starting lineup be those transfers, and you'll be okay. You'll be better than a lot of other Power 4 teams. You really will. It's just, what are we doing? I skipped over Crystal Kelly. That's a Holy Cross transfer. Former team captain at Holy Cross. All Patriot League first team. It's just a good, affordable depth piece at center. They can afford to get injured, and they're not going to miss anything. What can go wrong is somebody on your bench might be better than somebody you have in the starting lineup. That's what can go wrong. That's the only thing. But they're good. Travion Green blocks out the sun. He's 6'8", 340. Started every game last season. Good to go. William Boone is his backup. William Boone is a Prairie View A&M transfer, former JUCO guy. Cheap depth, once again, 6'6", 340. I think they'll be fine, man. Looks pretty good on the offensive line. That's the strongest part of this team. And they addressed it wholeheartedly. I'm with it. Shout out to them. It's a 9. All right, I'm stopping this episode. We will start episode 3 on the offensive line after I post this. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace, y'all.